All right. Well, good morning. Good day to you all. You're here. You want to talk about salary. We're going to talk about money, 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 money. Um, and let me start by saying there's absolutely nothing wrong with talking about money. It doesn't make you greedy. It doesn't make you selfish. There's nothing wrong with getting paid what you're supposed to get paid for the work and value that you bring. So let's start with that um, as a kind of foundation for our conversation today. And we are going to have a great time. And so, with that, on your screen, you do see a QR code that we are asking you to go ahead and scan on your respective devices. So that will serve as your check-in for today's event. And that way you'll receive the follow-up information following today. There will be a handout that will be very helpful. You don't want to miss it, but you can't get it if you haven't checked in. So let's make sure that we do follow that QR code and get checked in for today. All right. And so welcome to part of the Career Readiness Workshop series presented by Arizona at Work, Pinal County, and Career Connectors. My name is Brenda Cunningham, and Brenda Mariah. So yes, my name legally is Brenda Cunningham. And Brenda Mariah is the name that I have chosen until I am able to legally change my name. So please note that if you see Brenda Cunningham somewhere, like, I am the same person. It is all good. And my credentials don't change with my name. And so all the credentials behind my name qualify me to be in front of you today. If you're on your phone, go ahead and take a screenshot and you can check in a little bit later. So yeah, we can figure it all out. And I believe, Bree, if you're able to drop the direct link into the chat, that way folks that are using their phones would also be able to check in directly just by using that link. That would be very helpful. Thank you if that's possible. All right, and so who the heck is this person sharing with you today? Well, again, Brenda Mariah. I actually own a company called Push Career Management, and I partner with Career Connectors, who is partnering with Arizona at Work. Within my own practice, I operate as a professional resume writer, nationally certified professional resume writer, job search coach, LinkedIn profile expert. I'm certified in employment law. I'm currently the president of the National Resume Writers Association. We have over 500 members. And so this is not a game to me. This is what I do all day, every day. And one of my proudest achievements is earning credential in interview coaching and compensation negotiation, which is the piece that we're here to discuss today around salary negotiation. And I really want to encourage you to consider the word compensation versus the word salary. Compensation is a more kind of all-encompassing word, versus salary tends to refer to your income. Compensation can be a whole host of factors that round out the totality of how you are compensated for the work that you do. And so thank you. Bree has now dropped into the chat. For those of you who are on your phones, you can go ahead and check in using the link that is in the chat from Bree Martinez, and then you will be good to check in. So again, so happy that you all are here. Let's go ahead and I would love for you to share in the chat who you are, like, where are you coming from? What industry do you work in? It's going to help me to kind of tailor make today's conversation to you, to your needs, to your specific circumstances. Of course, I'll be referring to the chat a lot throughout our time together. And so if you have those specific questions, please continue to use the chat, and I will be checking in on it as often as possible in a way that it doesn't interrupt the flow of conversation. Um, but we do see Malcolm in the house from Fort Worth, all right, in finance. And so here, we are not out here making assumptions. Well, Malcolm works in finance. Shouldn't he know about salary negotiation? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. And so we're all here to learn. I make no assumptions and I make no judgments. This is a safe space to learn, ask questions, and get the information that you need. All right, Danielle in Phoenix, right on. I'm also in Phoenix. You're helping to switch careers from marketing to graphic design. Okay. Tran is in Gilbert. Operations and project management, Sean, good. Project management is something that I'm discovering is something of a niche for me because my own background is in electrical engineering and project management. So I think as much as I've tried to avoid identifying a niche of clients, I'm starting to see that there is no escaping it. I am probably one of these specialists for the project management space. So I'm excited for you to be here today, Sean Ryan. Okay. Aaron in the HR space, good employee relations, Jesse, sales enablement, instructional design. Don't judge me, Jesse. Don't judge my slides today because you're in instructional design. Don't you judge me. Okay. um, let's see. I'm not reading everybody's, of course, but I'll just be kind of scanning through. Gabby's in HR. Steve is in Tucson, sales and event marketing. Terry's in Phoenix, former teacher, transitioning back into marketing, sales, and corporate training. I find that that's such a smart transition for teachers is to go into corporate training. You've been a trainer this whole time. It's just an audience shift, not a work shift. It's an audience shift. And so good stuff. Jennifer's goal is to transition out of sales into more of a client relationship management. Experience with interviewing is that my extensive experience makes me more expensive, and employers feel as though they can hire someone younger, less experienced, and be able to offer less compensation. Okay, so I take not issue with your question. I take issue with that scenario. I have such trouble with it, even though I know it's true. The part of the opportunity that I see here for you, Jennifer, is to target companies who understand the value of the work that you do. So you can't probably pursue employment relationship with any old body. You're going to be pursuing kind of top tier employers because they have a sense of what this is worth. And they're not going to try to get away or try to get by with paying some junior person junior dollars versus knowing that we need the experts and we're going to pay them top dollar. And so, same is true for me, Jennifer. A lot of folks come, they want professional resume assistants and I'll share my fees and they're just like, oh, I was looking to pay $100. Like, I don't know who told you that a professional resume costs $100 because it doesn't. You can get one for $100. It's going to be a piece of crap, but you can get one for $100. Yes. And so I do understand that shifting to a new audience sometimes can be a difficult mental transition, but it's one that may be necessary if this is a recurring pattern for you. And so, great question, and let's keep a great perspective, and let's keep the conversation going today. All right. And then I don't know if we have our Arizona at Work person available today. If so, I'll just kind of pause for one moment to let you identify yourself. If not, I'm going to run it down. Okay. And so I'm gonna run it down really fast because here's the deal, y'all. I believe in Arizona at Work. Arizona at Work offers so many services at no cost to you. This is a this is a win-win. This is such an obvious solution to so many problems. And so I have personally contracted with Arizona at Work for many years, probably 10 years. I contracted with Arizona at Work because I believe in what they're doing. And I love that it was grant funded by like the federal government, which meant that folks didn't have to pay me out of their own pockets. I was compensated through the grant and people just receive the benefit of the services. And so I love, love, love everything that they are doing on a practical sense, from everything from resume assistance to interview preparation. You can schedule even like mock interview sessions with them if you're struggling in a particular area and you want to practice that thing with a qualified person who actually knows what to look for in your interview performance. This is a great, great organization to plug into. And so you're here, this is half the battle already won. And so as I'm talking through the other pieces, if you would like more information, go ahead and take a screenshot of how to contact them, scan the QR code, or visit them using this link. But when I taught one of these workshops in Casa Grande not that long ago, one of the representatives was there and he was sharing just all the amazing. They even have like a simulation tool where you can simulate, let's say, if you think you want to be a dental hygienist or something like that, they have a simulation tool that will give you kind of the look and feel of being inside somebody's mouth. Like sometimes you think you want to do something until you get up close and personal with that thing, and you're like, "Ooh, never mind." I thought I wanted to be a lawyer until I went to a mock jury trial, and I was just like, "Oh my God, I am so bored." It was boring. It was bored to tears, and I knew that that probably wasn't the right work for me, at least at that time. Now, granted, to be fair, I was in high school, so everything was probably a little bit boring, but it wasn't the right fit at the right time. And it was because I got exposed to it that I knew that. And I didn't go through, years and years of schooling and training and bar exams only to get to the other side and be bored with my life and want to do something different. And so, simulations, referrals, job search assistant, if you don't know what you want to do with your life or what you want to be when you grow up, career exploration, on the job training, certifications to become qualified to do the work that you want to do. Um, and support for veterans and job seekers with disabilities. So, a whole host of resources. And I'm sure there's stuff that's not even on this list that if you simply ask, they can probably find a way. So, come on and get plugged into what is going on with Arizona at work. And let's make this thing happen. I need everybody on this call and future calls to win. If you're watching this recording, I need you to win. I need all of us out here winning, because job search right now is hard enough. It's hard. It's hard. And we even saw the one individual, I believe Jennifer, talking about, folks are giving, hey, you're too expensive. I'm just going to hire a more junior person and pay them a little bit less. We're super qualified for this work, but yet we're still in an ultra competitive landscape. And this is hard. So let's just be super clear as we begin. Yes, this conversation, Rainey, is recorded. Um, yeah, so but again, make sure that you're checked in. I'll super fast go back to that check-in QR code so that way you can make sure that you're checked in. Because if you're not checked in, we don't know that you were here and you probably won't receive that recording or the handout materials after the fact. So make sure you check in here for those who might be coming in late. Check in here. And then if you need to watch the recording, so be it. Okay. All right. Enough. We're going to get into it. We are going to get into the conversation about salary negotiation. So I've been asking you all to kind of introduce yourselves a little bit, ask any questions that you had, so that I can make today's conversation even more meaningful to each and every one of you. Okay, so let me see. Rebecca, looking for a new position, project manager. We're currently working at a semiconductor distributor. Okay. And that, and then look at that. Networking is happening right before our eyes. Jennifer responded to Rebecca, said, "Hey, Blue Cross Blue Shield of AZ is currently hiring for project managers." And so this is a beautiful thing that I see that happens all the time, is when we make known the work that we want to do and tend to do, then other folks who have access to those opportunities can share them with you. So don't be shy here. This is a super safe space. This is kind of like what happens at Career Connectors in Arizona at Work stays at Career Connectors in Arizona at Work. And again, I will say that if anybody besides my one pal, Jesse, can turn on their video, that would make me feel a lot less lonely. So thank you, Jesse. Never change. Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate you. All right. And so if anybody else turns it on, I think you pop to the kind of top of my screen here. So I'm excited to see some more smiling faces. Nod in agreement with me. Look confused if you're confused, because I'm going to be paying attention to your faces too. If I'm saying something and went way over your head, give me this kind of like, what? What are you talking about? Give me that facial expression. Like I'm here for that. Raise your hand. You can use the reaction. Um, Menu to raise your hand, to like or celebrate or laugh or whatever. Let's make this as interactive and enjoyable as possible. So, and we do have Wendy and Bree in the kind of background as support admins for today's program. So if you do have a question, you can direct it to Bree or Wendy. All right. All right. Well, let's get into it. Let's talk about asking your words, some salary negotiation skills for job seekers. Again, I'm Brenda Mariah with Push Career Management, with thanks to Career Connectors and Arizona at Work. All right. So again, I've shared a little bit about myself from a credential standpoint. I also kind of alluded to the fact that my background was in engineering and project management. And what does that mean? That means I've worked in industry. I've interviewed for jobs. I've negotiated salaries. I've asked for more. I've been scared to ask for more, and I've done it anyway. All of the things. Hold on. One of the very early questions I said I wanted to come back to. Let me see. Yeah, because it was again, please correct me if I'm mispronouncing, but Hui Ping said how to beat the beggar can't be chooser mentality. And I think this is where our conversation begins today. There is a whole section later on where we talk about facing your fears. But the truth of the matter is, so many of us were brought up with kind of, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. You should just be grateful that you have a job. We kind of came up with this kind of teaching, and it set us up to be left behind. That's what it did. It set us up royally to accept far less than what we should have or were capable of earning. It set us up. And so it's a very difficult task for all of us today to try to overcome a lifetime of teaching. We do that in 3 hours? I don't know. But I can surely plant the seed today. I can plant the seed right now that we have been taught something that is no longer true. And we have every right to get paid what we're supposed to get paid for the work that we're contributing. We bring something very special to our respective workplaces. And yet, because I don't know, I'm not, I promise I'm not talking about politics. I'm not doing it because I can't even do it today. But one of the propositions in the state of Arizona was around, um, can restaurant or can owners, particularly like restaurant and tip-based earners, can those company owners pay their employees even less money because they're going to get tips? And this is the mentality of the owner. So you have to understand for just a moment, the owner wants to get away with paying as little as possible because it puts more money in their pocket. The employee wants to get away with making as much money as possible because we've got bills to pay and mouths to feed. And so this is the battle that we're in. And so let's start with just a simple question. What the heck is negotiation? Right? What is negotiation? And let me pause here because I'm curious to hear some of your definitions. So you can feel free to speak out loud. You can feel free to type into the chat. I'm curious, what do you perceive is the definition of negotiation? And I'm going to look at some of the chat questions. Okay. So again, feel free to unmute if you've got something to say, and otherwise I'll be peeking into the chat. Jay Molitor said, "How do I feel about remote jobs and the legitimacy of them? I've tried to supplement my income, but these remote postings have mostly been fraudulent posts." There is a definite risk when it comes to kind of these unknown entities. There is some risk there for sure. I think to try to minimize your risk, you could go through reputable agencies like Manpower, Kelly Services, Tech Systems. There are different employment agencies, Robert Half, Rise Smart, where they have access to opportunities, some of which are remote. But they have been vetted by those agencies, because if you don't have the capacity or the wherewithal to do thorough investigating, I mean, Googling them plus scam alert to try to figure out if there are kind of known scams going on out there. There are different things that you can do. Danielle says, I've been working remotely full time since 2020. There are many legitimate jobs. I found them either on LinkedIn or Indeed. Yeah, LinkedIn is, again, far more legitimate, but even bad actors get through LinkedIn too. And then working remotely for a reputable job versus a side hustle remote kind of data entry job, that's a little bit different. It's a little bit different when they're advertising it as just kind of a temporary, seasonal, part-time kind of thing. It could be absolutely any number of fly-by-nights. And so if you have the opportunity to work full-time, W-2, and you just happen to be remote, that is I believe, a different scenario than what the asker, than what the person was asking here. And so when you're exploring and investigating those remote opportunities, I would strongly recommend running just a quick Google search, see if other people have already flagged them. But again, really kind of more in the interest of time, I would engage with a known reputable agency that has already done a lot of the vetting for you, and just inquire with them about part-time remote jobs. Okay. We are That's a little bit beyond the scope of today's conversation, but I want to take the time because we were waiting anyway. Okay. And so let's see. So back to what is negotiation? Let's see. I saw Jesse first. Hold on. The process of agreeing to monetary and non-monetary compensation for agreed upon work. Good. Negotiation from Terry. Negotiation is an open communication between the recruit and the employer where both are looking for the best outcome to their needs. A perfect negotiation is a win-win for both sides. Amen to that, Terry. Rainey says, communicate and bargain to come to the solution that all agree. Aaron says, interaction between or among individuals to obtain mutual agreed upon arrangement. Um, to have discussion with other to come to an agreement. Two parties discussing concessions so that both parties are happy as possible with the end result. Angelica, I wouldn't know how to begin the conversation to negotiate. I'm finding jobs that are paying significantly more than what I was making. And so I feel like the pay is really good and don't feel like I should ask for more. Ooh, now Angelica, you're entering on a question that we're going to talk about later, is do you always even need to negotiate? Hint. You don't. um, and so but let's talk about it. Okay. Okay. And so yes, yes to all of those responses. To confer with another as to arrive at the settlement of some matter, according to Merriam-Webster dictionary, is the definition of negotiation. But a secondary definition is what many of you have stated, and it is a win-win compromise where both sides of the conversation feel like they're coming away with something beneficial, right? If I feel like I've just given up my my soul for this deal, like that's not a win-win. That's a win-lose for me. But if I'm getting the value of your expertise, your knowledge, and your experience, and you're getting in return very fair compensation, this is a win-win scenario. So let's always make sure that we understand negotiation is a mutual conversation wherein both parties feel like they're coming away with something valuable. And it is not one-sided, lopsided. Okay. It is mutually beneficial for both parties. That's a successful, really, uh, more technically, it's a successful negotiation. Okay. All right. But what are your feelings about negotiation? Hmm. And so if you can notice this image attached to this slide, this really represents my feelings around negotiation. Um, until I knew better. I felt like it felt more like an interrogation than a conversation. It felt I was scared of it because it felt like I was going to be grilled or arm wrestled or in some sort of weird, dangerous game of chicken, like who's going to blink first. And that person's going to be the loser. And this is just going to be domination. And you're going to lose and I'm going to win. And that was my perception of negotiation. And that was why it felt so big and so impossible to even consider negotiating my own salary because it felt like this very big, scary, dark room light bulb situation until I knew better. Until I knew better. So let's ask a question. Oh, hold on. Let me check the chat. Y'all are lighting this chat up. I am here for it. Okay, let's see. Sometimes Jennifer says, sometimes they don't leave it open. It seems like they just state the position pays X. Let's talk about that. Scared I will lose. Oof. Yes. That's the feeling around negotiations. Scared I will lose the offer. You know how likely that is? Now, I won't sit here and pretend that it doesn't ever happen that an offer can be rescinded. It can happen. It is so incredibly rare that that can happen, that would happen. It is so incredibly rare. And when that kind of thing starts to present itself, now I start to wonder, would I want to work for a company that's just like, it's my way or the highway? Like you can just get on the heck on because my offer was good enough and you should have just took it, you should have just rolled over and accepted it. Like, I don't want to be a part of that. And so I get it. Let me talk to you as a human being for just a moment. I get it. I am a single parent. I understand fear more than you know. Now, granted, my daughter is 19, my son is 21, so he just moved out. So yay to half empty nesting. But my 19-year-old, she works part-time and she's a full-time student. So it's not like she's some major contributor to the household, right? So I'm still mom. I'm still the breadwinner of this household. Um, and it is scary. The thought of not having enough, the thought of having nothing, the thought of not knowing where the next meal or the next rent payment is coming from. These are real human thoughts that I share with you. So please don't be confused or deceived or get it twisted that I'm speaking from some sort of high horse place. I am not. I am a whole entrepreneur, y'all. Do y'all know what that means? That means some months I have zero income and it is scary as heck. And the only thing I can do to keep going is to trust in my own ability to find that next client, to connect with that next client, that the offering that I have to give is worth something. I have to trust in my own abilities. I have to trust in my own value and my own offerings. And that's a hard thing when the going starts getting a lot rough. That's a very hard thing. And so I'm speaking to you as a human. When it comes down to it, do I take something even though it's not ideal for me? I probably do. I probably take something to get some income coming in so I can keep a roof over our heads and I can keep food on our table. But what does that mean? I'm going to diverge from this conversation for just a moment and talk something that I usually talk about in an interview skills course, which is just take something to survive. Do not become a hostage to that survival job. Do not. And what do I mean by that? It means if you take a survival job, but that job is scheduled from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, I want you to think about when in the whole week you could interview somewhere else. You can't. You can't. You have left no room for yourself to continue to explore the next best thing. And so now you are stuck. You are in this thing. You probably don't even earn a vacation day for the first 90 days, right? So now 3 months deep and you can't even continue your search because you are locked into this 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And so what I mean by do what you got to do here is do what you got to do. Take what you need to take, get some income coming in, but leave a way of escape. And that means I don't work Monday through Friday. I work Tuesday through Saturday. Now I leave Mondays open. Or I don't work 8 to 5. I work 6 to 2 so I can have afternoons open or something, some sort of configuration that leaves room for me to continue to meet with other employers so that I can find and live my best life and do my best work in my best atmosphere while also meeting the needs of my family. So that is me talking to you from as a human to a fellow human because this is a very difficult moment for so many, and I'm not blind at all to that reality. Okay, fair enough. So yes, there is a fear that you can lose an offer, but that fear truly isn't even that warranted when you consider how infrequently an offer would be rescinded simply because you asked for more. But we're going to talk about all of the pieces on what you should be asking for. Now look, cuz Hugh Ping, if you come to me and say I want to be a CNA, but Brenda, I need to make $200,000 a year. I just want to be a CNA, and I need you to pay me 200,000. I'm gonna take that offer back so fast you won't even be able to blink, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. There is no uh, parallel in the multiverse where that makes sense. None. And so I'm not going to ask for something that's so far out of the realm of reality that I look almost like I'm just kind of uninformed about the way of the world. But if it's like a difference between, $13 an hour and $14 an hour, the heck, I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask. And if you say, "Well, I'm going to have to take your offer back." Listen, let's play that out. I'm going to have to take that offer back because you dared to ask me for more. What does that say about the employer that you're talking to? So let's think about that. Okay. Malcolm says, I feel that if you negotiate, they may not hire you. When do you negotiate? After they've already given you the offer. You already got hired. Now you negotiate. And we'll talk about that too. I really don't like negotiation. Danielle says, it feels like I can't ask for too much more than I have. Again, this is a lifelong training that has been shoved down our throats and shoveled into our minds. And unlearning this will be a whole process. So be gentle with yourselves and to know that today might just be planting a seed. And I might want you to revisit the same conversation a few different times until such one day you will believe it and you will act accordingly. But for today, the fear, it's real. This is training that you can't overcome this kind of lifelong training in a simple workshop. You just can't. I'll do my best, but be gentle with yourself because it can feel so big. Um, Aaron feels a lot more confident at the age when I was younger. I took the money offered. Now it's still uncomfortable, but I feel assertive with it. Ooh, Aaron, yes, yes. Okay. Would you want to work the? Yep, come on, Jesse. We were on the same page. Would you even want to work there? Um, Ooh, rainy. Oh, okay. Now this is a question that I hadn't planned on addressing, so I'm gonna address it. It says, Rainy asks, I feel awkward every time when in the job application, the when the job application asked about the salary range I want and my previous salary, not sure how I would respond. Okay. So I'm writing certain ones down because if I know I haven't already planned to address it. Okay. I do not like when they ask my current salary. It's none of their business. And some states, they're getting away from asking that question, but not all states. So it depends on where you live. I know it could be a no. Danielle, you say, I know what I could be earning with my experience, but now that I want to pivot careers, I feel like I have to accept less pay. Okay, so let's talk about this for just a second. I said, raise your hand. Who knows what they're supposed to be earning, right? Because this is the foundation for any negotiation, no matter what, is I know what I'm supposed to be making. I know what it's supposed to cost. I know what the value is supposed to be, where it's supposed to be leveled at. And if I don't know that, then I'll probably fall for anything they give me because I didn't know better. I didn't know otherwise. If 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 you ever tried to sell a car, you ever tried to sell a car and they're like, "Well, I'll give you $1,000 for it." And you're like, oh, "Okay, that sounds like a good deal." And then you go check out Kelly Blue Book. And you're like, "Wait, this car is worth $4,000 and I just sold it for $1,000? Like what? What? Wait, what? Huh?" And this is what happens is we can become very easily tricked if we don't know what the number was supposed to be. We can fall right into the trap. And so, point number one is we have to know what we're supposed to be earning. Ah, so write that down. And if you don't already know the answer to this question, then this is, I want you to draw a little underline on a sheet of paper on your notepads, whatever you're using for today. This is a question that you shall not leave without understanding how to discover it. Because I'm going to teach you some tools today. This is not just, we're not just going to have some lovey-dovey, drum circle. We're going to get into it. Okay, hold on. Just trying to get through some of these chats. Yes. Carol says, can I please ask you a question at some point about how employers treat employees differently than I was used to working here as a younger person? Oof. Yeah, if time permits, we'll come back to some of these questions that are outside of the scope of salary negotiation, um, but some of these things are real things. Yes, it's not just salary. Yep, yep, yep. What about when they have posted the salary range and then you ask in your interview for a precise figure? Um, again, One thing that I believe is in a different slide, but I'm going to say it, I'll say it many times so that nobody leaves here without knowing it, is the best time to negotiate your compensation is after you have already received an offer. There was a, hold on, I gotta find my notes. It was just yesterday. I sat in on just, it wasn't a salary negotiation um, uh, um, seminar. It was just about negotiating. And the facilitator said something very important. And I outlined it because I knew I was teaching this class today. So I wanted to share the statement with you. She said, your stock is never higher than the period between the offer and when you accept the offer. Your stock with that employer is never going to be higher than that moment. That is the moment. They have already shown you that they value you, that they like you, that they want you, that they want you to be part of the team. They have already made that very clear by way of extending an offer of employment. So your stock is never going to be higher than that moment. That means that is the moment to ask for what you're supposed to be getting. But again, if we don't know what we're supposed to be getting, we start falling for whatever they offered. And so, to your question, Terry, when they ask you for a precise figure in the interview, they shall not be expecting you to have that precise number in the interview process. Here's my response. If somebody asks me for, what do I look for, where do I want to be within that range? Well, it depends. It depends. And for me, upon successful completion of this interview process, I'll have a good sense of my expectations as a future employee. At this point, I don't fully know how to account for everything because we haven't completed our process together, right? And so if you're asking me, the difference between 50,000 and 70,000, well, it depends. Am I going to be on call? Am I going to have to work every weekend? Like, we haven't gotten into the weeds of all of those things. I don't even know all of the challenges that you yet expect me to contend with and overcome. What are some of the big hurdles that I have to deal with? What am I expected to do? Am I expected to come in here and work some miracles for you? Because maybe the range you provided still isn't good enough for what you're asking for, and this is why. Do you have a high turnover? Are people coming and going out of this position just like every other week? Because what you're asking of them is impossible. It's impossible, especially for this amount of money. Look, I can solve a problem for $2 million that I will not solve for you for 50,000. I won't do it. I won't give you a $2 million solution for the reward of 50,000. That's not a win-win. And so let's make sure that we understand there again, the best time to ask for a negotiation is after the offer has been accepted. Anytime before that, your response is, I don't yet have enough information to make that kind of precise uh, um, uh, 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 guesstimate as to what I believe the salary ought to be. I don't yet have the full suite of information. So how could I possibly answer that question at this point? Okay. I hope that this is helping. Um, Now, Aaron, you said sometimes a prospective employer, this is going to be a high chat conversation. I can already tell, but this is good. And as long as y'all are with me, we're going to keep flowing like this because I believe you're going to get so much value between these slides and your questions being answered. You're going to get so much value out of today's conversation. And if y'all are with me, stay tuned. If you're not with me, put something in the chat. You could do it directly to me. And in that way, just be like, oh no, Brenda, just teach. Don't read these chat questions. This is stupid. let me know how you're feeling about this approach because we want to make sure that this is meaningful to you. But Aaron says sometimes a prospective employer isn't able to meet me at my minimum salary. When this happens, I just ask if they have a type of bonus or incentive structure. So now you're getting into compensation, right? Where sometimes salary isn't the only element, and we have to talk about other things like bonuses, like PTO, like telecommute options, like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so there are a whole host of other dimensions that you can negotiate that are beyond just dollars, just income dollars, just like paycheck dollars. There can be other things like bonus or incentives or sign on bonus, monthly kind of revenue generation bonus, those kinds of things. Absolutely. They want you to enter desired salary. So yeah, if on an application process, they want you to enter desired salary, it's based on what you're supposed to be earning. So you could see why this ends up being such a strong foundational piece of information, because if you know what you're supposed to be earning, now you're putting in their real actual numbers and not just imagination run wild kind of numbers like I'm a CNA and I want to make 200,000. Like, where did that even come from? You just pull that out of the sky, right? We have got to get to the place where we understand how to understand our actual salary range. Yeah. And if you go with another candidate because we can't meet your salary requirements, thank you. Thank you. Because what happens when we accept less than we know we're supposed to? We took that job. We knew it was supposed to pay 100,000, but we accepted 60. What happens? I'm super curious. What do you think happens inside of you when you accept less than you knew you were supposed to? What happens? I'm going to watch for the chat. Let me go all the way down to the bottom. Tran, come on. You downgrade your own self-worth. You feel cheated. Gilbert says, continue to look. Carolina will not perform at her best. Terry, that was the word in my mind, was resentful. You become resentful. You can't stand these people. Now you come in there with this kind of chip on your shoulder. You're just kind of mad all the time. And you don't really know why. You're just kind of mad. You don't want to go to this place. You feel cheated. I'm mad. I'm angry. I don't even know why I feel this way, but I don't ever want to go to this place. And I'm so sick of this place. And they don't pay me enough for that. And your attitude just kind of, it sours the whole experience. It's like, why did you ever agree to this thing that you knew was going to be bad for you in the first place? And the reason why was because you said yes, because you needed income, because you are out here adulting and adulting is hard. Like, I want to do over. I want to be 13 years old again. Like, all the complaining I did at 13, like, I take it back. I take it back. I take it back. I was just playing. I don't want to be an adult anymore. But all of this that we're doing, we knew what we were getting into right from the outset. But again, we were out here trying to be the best adults that we knew how to be. And so we ended up taking far less than we knew we should. This is not even only limited to jobs. Did I not tell y'all I'm a single mother? Like, this happened in the last 4 years. I'm out here trying to date. Y'all know what the dating pool looks like right now. You know what it's full of. I'm not even gonna say that word out loud, but it's not pretty. It's not good and it doesn't smell right. And so there are problems. I don't care if you're talking about a job search, if you're talking about a relationship, if you're talking about buying a new car, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. When you accept less than you knew you were supposed to, you end up resenting the whole situation. Yes. So Jennifer says it's like trying to find a job, sharing your info over and over, hoping that somebody likes you. Like I just need a man. I don't even really care at this point. He don't have to smell good. He doesn't have to have teeth. He could live in his mother's basement and play video games all day. I just need somebody. Like, no, I don't need nobody that bad. Nobody. But yes, and the interviewer knows it, Sharon says the interviewer also knows that the person in the position, uh, what the position, wait, hold on, I can't see. Sorry, I'm trying to, what the person in that position deserves, and they hire you for less than that, they are cheating. They're not cheating. I wouldn't call it cheating, but they're trying to protect as many of their assets as possible. So if I could get away with paying you 50,000, if you allow me to pay you 50,000 because you think that that's a good amount of money, even though had you just done some basic research, you would have known that this position was worth 70. If I can get away with giving you 50 and you're happy about it, I'm gonna give you 50. Why? Because as a business owner, I need you to understand that the primary objective of the company is to make more money, not give away more money. So be careful. Be careful. And I don't want any of us to think that any employer is out there trying to protect you. Can I be real? They're not out here trying to protect you. They're out here trying to maximize their own income. Your job is to do the same. And yes, Terry, the dating pool. Absolutely. SUCKS. Okay. All right. um, yes, yes, yes. So this is real talk. This is what we are contending with, and this is why it's so important to know what you're supposed to be earning in the first place. Now, oh, hold on, let me grab my statistics. This data was from, I believe, 2022, and it said that the average salary increase within, just the average salary increase period was 3%. 3%. Now I want to take 30 seconds in the chat. Write down, what do you think the average pay increase is with negotiation? If you negotiate, it goes from 3% to what? Rebecca says 5, Angelica 10, Jesse 15, Tran 5, 5, 8, 5, 4, 8, 10, 10. I'm trying to look for, okay, Stephanie is the closest. Stephanie and Jesse actually were the same at the closest, 15. Okay. 18.83%. 18.83% is the average jump with a negotiation versus no negotiation. What indeed? This is an outrageous discrepancy. And for all of those who were getting 3% increases when inflation shot up like 13%, you actually got a pay cut. Whether you kind of realize that or not, you got a pay cut. And so anybody that negotiated and secured 18% more officially got a 5% increase. And that was a good day for them. But for the rest of us, again, that lifelong type of thinking that just said you get what you get, you don't throw a fit, beggars can't be choosers, be grateful you have a job, we just took it. Okay, let's see. Sharon, you said, Amy said, or maybe they didn't know you and want to see how you fit before they offer the full amount they are willing to pay. Okay, hold on. I'm pausing on this note. So Amy, you said, or maybe they didn't know you and want to see how you fit before they offer the full amount that they are willing to pay. Where is that in writing? What guarantee do you have that if I do well for the next 6 months, I'm going to get this pay increase? None. If they're testing you and you don't know it, and you don't have any paper trail to take to the judge if it comes down to it, that says, hey, they promised me X. If I did all these wonderful things over the last 6 months, they were going to give me this. You have no evidence. You think that they're going to give you more when you prove yourself after some period of time. But if none of that stuff is written down, there are no receipts, can't prove it, and anybody could say anything. And so I don't play this game of let me just see how I fit. If that's the case, make me temporary to permanent, but don't affect my money in the meantime. Pay me the right amount of money and change my employment status when I have proven myself. But you don't get to kind of toy with my rate of pay, kind of like I'm like a pawn in a chess game. You don't get to toy with my pay that way, on the chance that you might see my value in so many months and give me what I was supposed to be making. Okay, Rainey, I'm from abroad, so my previous salary from there is quite low comparing with the baseline salary in the United States. So I wonder how I should answer when they ask about my previous salary and my preferred salary, if there is a huge difference between those. I feel like it's much more challenging when I'm non-US. You are absolutely right. And so it's the very same premise if you are, let's say you live in Phoenix, Arizona, and you think you want to get a job in San Francisco, California. If you give me your rate of pay from Phoenix, which cost of living, generally speaking, in Phoenix is lower than that of San Francisco. Okay. And so 50,000 in Phoenix. Okay, hold on. Let me take that back because that's no longer true. 80,000 in Phoenix, you might be able to buy a house, like a modest house. You might be able to buy a modest house, drive a very, very basic car, and live a decent life with 80,000 in Phoenix. 80,000 will get you next to nothing in San Francisco. And so that same 80,000 would need to be probably more like 200,000 to have the same quality of existence in San Francisco. And so if I'm applying for a San Francisco based company and it asks me for my previous salary range or what have you, what I'm going to do is do a cost of living conversion. And I'm going to take that 80 and figure out what does that actually translate to in San Francisco dollars. And those are the numbers that I'm going to include when they ask me about my previous salary history. I'm going to first apply a cost of living conversion, and then I'm going to apply those numbers. I hope that helps you because it's the same for coming out from another country. I used to use, there was a tool, I think even Indeed has a salary wizard, but salary.com for sure. You can do like a cost of living calculator and go from one location to the other location, and it'll show you kind of what amount of dollars you would need in this location in order to have that same kind of quality of life. And that's what you're after here. So let me know if that helps. Yeah, salary.com, cost of living calculator. Indeed, I know has one. I think both are going to be really good tools for a cost of living calculator. Okay, good. Good. Okay, so we talked about the statistics. 3% without negotiation, 18.83% with negotiation. But my least favorite statistic of them all, my least favorite of them all is that 60% of women never even attempt to negotiate their salary. Never even try. Never even try. And it hurts as a fellow woman person. It hurts. It hurts a lot. And I know where it comes from. It comes from all of the we get what we get. We should just be grateful. All of that. I know exactly where it comes from. Okay. We have got to learn how. I'll share with you an example. And it was the very first time that I attempted to negotiate, and I was scared to death. I was scared, y'all. I was scared mostly because the job that I was trying to get out of was killing me. I I I hated going to that place. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. It was taking so much. It was depleting me in every way. And I was so drained at the end of every day. I had no respect for my boss. My boss had no respect for me. I couldn't look him in the eye, and he didn't give a crap about me. That was the first time ever in my whole existence I didn't get like a meet expectations. I didn't get a annual increase, like nothing. They were like, "We're not training you. I don't know what to tell you. You on your own." I was so out. I was mentally checked out. I was gone. I needed to get the heck out of there. And I'd interviewed elsewhere. And after 2 months of waiting, like I was like, oh my gosh, let me call and follow up. And I followed up and I was just like, hey, because I was so desperate, y'all. I had to get out of there so bad. And so I followed up and I was just like, hey, this is Brenda. We spoke a little while back. Just wanted to reiterate that I was still very interested in the position. I wanted to follow up and see if there was perhaps any information that you still needed, any questions that I could answer for you. And they were like, well, actually, we were putting together an offer package for you now. The relief was overwhelming. And what was the temptation? The temptation was to simply take what they gave me because I wanted so desperately to leave place A, right? That was the temptation. And the temptation was very real. The problem was everything started to get a little bit more costly. The commute was getting ready to be a little bit longer for me. So I'm like, so that means more gas and more time away from my kids, and the kids are going to have to be in daycare, and dinner is going to just be a mess, and so groceries and all the like just all the stuff that I'm like running through my head like this number of dollars isn't going to be the same kind of life because it costs more to take this other job. And so with everything, I mean, y'all, I reached down to the depths. I called out to the ancestors. Like it was a real like experience. Like it was very spiritual and deep. And I mean, the nerves were running. I mean, my heart was the way it was racing was just it was insane. I have to paint all of this for you because this may be what it feels like for you. And I simply said, thank you so much for the offer. I'm so excited to partner with you all. However, I did notice that it was here, and based on my research, I did expect it to be more like here. Is there anything that we could do to move the needle? Her response to me was, let me ask. They came back, and that was a 2, 3 minute conversation with five additional $1,000 a year. 3 minutes, 5,000. And it more than covered that cost of extra gas and all the things that I was kind of worried about. And I did essentially come out ahead. Yeah, I asked for it. I asked for the 5,000. I asked for a specific number. I think, oh God, I think they had offered 57 and I asked for 62 or something like that. Yeah. So it was a very real. I hope y'all kind of heard some of the emotions that kind of came out during that experience because it was scary. Because it was always you get what you get. Just be grateful. They at least offered you the job, all these things. And you can't stand where you are. Don't you want to leave? I thought you said you wanted to leave. Why are you out here asking for more? Who do you think you are? All the things started to swirl. And I asked for the money and they gave it to me because the truth of the matter is they had it to give. They were waiting to see if I would ask. Hmm. So let me look at these. Yeah, with women being paid 83 cents on the dollar compared to men, should we automatically negotiate for that difference? Not necessarily, because that's not always true. Those are averages. Those are averages. And so sometimes what we are doing is applying kind of averages to individuals. And that's not necessarily fair. Not every organization pays 83 cents on the dollar. Some do, and the majority do. And so we can't also apply that same mathematical formula to the individual company who might be doing things far more equitably. Okay, so be careful about assigning that general rule to every individual entity. Um, Tran says that's inspiring. Thank you. And those emotions are what have kept me from negotiating in the past. So, when countering, is it best to give them a specific number rather than a range? I still believe in ranges. Again, that was my very first time, and I was just so nervous that I just blurted out a number. But a range is far, I think, better. And what we have to understand is that the bottom of whatever range we provide needs to be something that we're comfortable with. We have to be comfortable with the bottom. The top is the ideal, right? It's the like, you have blown my mind. All things are awesome. Everything is awesome. I'm going to say yes. But the bottom number, I still better be able to live with that bottom number in such a way that I'm not resenting this organization or these people, and I can show up and bring my best self to this organization. Okay. Trisha, glad you're here. That's okay. You're here. Please listen to the recording though, so that you can catch up with what you missed, Trisha. So I need to make sure that you're getting all that you need from this conversation. And then Jay says, yes, it's sad when that we as women don't negotiate more often, but what is more sad is that women are perceived as less than and offered lower salaries than men in the first place. It shouldn't all fall on us women to correct these perceptions while fighting for equal pay. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with so many parts of what you're saying. Absolutely, I do. And yet, I mean, just the last week has taught us anything. Like, I had the voting is a right for any US citizen. Voting is a right. But it wasn't always a right for somebody who looked like me. And it was because of people who stood up and fought and died so that I could vote. So yeah, this is going to be an ugly struggle, and it's not fair, and it's not fair to ask some of us to fight these battles, and yet we determine the future for our daughters. And so we can't be afraid to show up or reluctant to show up for the hard battles that lie ahead. Okay. Y'all, I'll get emotional, so I'm gonna stop talking about that for now. But yes, thank you. Hey, you can see everything is just kind of building up, building up, building up. But before we negotiate, I want to think about, let's think about, there was like a meme going around, and it's just like, the bottle of water that costs 50 cents at the grocery store, but it costs $4 at the movies, and it costs $8 at the airport. Same bottle of water, three different prices. Hmm. And what's the at the bottom line? The bottom line is you gotta be in the right place. if we want to be valued in the right way. And so, to the individual earlier who said, hey, they always offer the junior people the lesser salary, they don't want to pay me what I'm worth. Same value, wrong place, wrong place. And so I think about things like fit a lot. I think about fit a lot. Um, I think about doing the right work at the right place with the right people. Like, I think about these kinds of things a lot. And so fit is, am I doing the right work? Is the function of my work the right work for me? Am I actually genuinely passionate and energetic and really just tuned into the function of the work that I'm doing? Is it meaningful to me? All of these things, they have to be present. If you're going to show up in such a way that you've kind of earned the right to negotiate for yourself, right? Again, because if you show up lackluster, low energy, and all this, like, I'm not giving you more money, you probably going to do the bare minimum and quit in a week. But if I can see a certain fire in you, like, ooh, I want to give you whatever I can afford, but whatever it takes to be able to keep you, because I can see that you're going to add value to our whole environment here. And so, am I doing the right functional work? Am I doing that in the right industry? Fit, FIT, in the right industry, right? Does the work matter to me? So, for the individual who said something about semiconductor manufacturing, it's funny because as an engineer, I worked for a semiconductor manufacturing company. And truth be told, I just don't think I cared. I just don't think I cared about semiconductors that much. Um, I mean, it was, I guess, something, but the work I did essentially on a cell phone told your phone if it was in portrait mode or landscape mode. That's what the work that I did. And I didn't care. And it didn't feel like it was life changing and it just didn't feel like that to me. It just felt like some stuff that does some stuff. And it didn't make me want to get out of the bed in the morning until I started to realize that when I'm doing work that affects human people, in a very tangible way, like, oh my God, the energy that I feel even right now teaching this class to you all, like, can y'all tell? Like, my energy on a good day is very, very low, but something happens, something comes alive, and it's sparked when I get to teach and educate and engage with you all in these kinds of situations. And so I know that I'm doing the right work. Thank you, Angelica. I love you. I appreciate it. But I know I'm doing the right work in the right space because my energy can show up. Okay. And then we think about the T in fit, which are the things that matter to you. And so it's things like commute time or adoption assistance or, just time off to be able to serve your community or whatever things that matter to you, the individual person. And so before you ever even attempt to negotiate, I want you to get so super comfortable with just who it is that you are and where you're supposed to be. Sometimes that's a very hard question to answer. And so I'm not blind to that. That's a very difficult thing when you don't know what you're supposed to do, who you're supposed to serve, and what things that even matter to you. I swear, before I got divorced 4 years ago, like, I had no concept of who I was as a person. None. I knew who I was, like, as a professional resume writer and a teacher, but I didn't have any concept of who I was as a whole human being. None. And it took that whole ugly, dark experience for me to really start to explore deeper. And now there's no going back. Like, oh, I'm here now. Y'all, yeah, y'all are just stuck with me now. Uh, so Yeah, Rebecca, you said I took this job because my contract was up. I don't have passion and it takes all that I have to show up. That's what I'm saying. And if it takes all that you have to show up, you don't feel like you're making a difference. How could you even show up and say, give me more money? How's that going to work? Your face is going to betray you. You're going to show up and be like, yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Like you can't even pretend. You can't pretend. You can't stand that place. You know it, and they probably know it too. So before we even attempt to negotiate, let's make sure, friends, that we are doing the right work and stop trying to force fit ourselves into places that don't value us. And I don't care if you're a man or a woman, if they don't value you, it's time to explore. And I'm not saying quit your job and live your best life and go travel. No, it's time to explore. It's time to really sit and think and journal and talk out loud and phone a friend and meet with your therapist and do all the things. It's time we have to do. Trisha, I see you, girl. Hey, I remember you. But yes, this is real talk. This is a great opportunity. This is a great moment right now. Right now is a good day. Right now. Okay. Um, yeah, this is real talk. All right. I love everything you saying, Angelica. As I say it with an attitude. Okay. All right. Here's another question for you. True or false? You should never make the first offer. Go ahead and type your response in the chat. Okay, for those who are responding, hold on. It's a slightly trick question. Look at the capitalization. Okay. So yes, I'm trying to be a little tricky. Never say never. Thank you, Angelica. Yes. So it's not exactly true. It does depend. And I do agree with like kind of never say never. Um, First of all, there are definitely moments where if I'm already gainfully employed, um, and I don't really have to take something else, I'm just kind of seeing what's all out there, just kind of testing the waters a little bit. I might just say, you know what, hey, I'm not interested in anything less than X. Cause I don't want to go through 6 rounds of interviews only to get to the end and y'all are like, yeah, let me pay you $50,000. Like I'm not doing that. And so there are conditions where it might be perfectly fine and quite honestly save you a lot of time to simply state your bottom line number. But at the same time, when I don't, especially for an entity that hasn't shared their salary range. And I'll say this to you. I'm working with an organization right now who's essentially they've hired me to help them write job descriptions. And I'm like, this is a brilliant use of my skill. Why? Because I'm like, I know the struggle of the job seeker. I know what would make a job seeker really light up if they were looking at this job description. And one of those dimensions is the range, the salary range. Nobody wants to go through all these rounds of interviews only to get to the end and realize you can't pay for crap. Nobody wants to do that. And so that was one of my hard, fast rules is we have to disclose the salary range. And I really pressed this employer. And I said, hey, let's make sure that what you're putting out there is true, it's honest, and it's the best you got. We don't need to be out here playing games with people and then they're having to come back and negotiate. The range is the range. And it really more is a matter of what you might be negotiating is where do I fall within the range, not the range itself. Okay. And so if I know I'm a very beginner, I should probably expect to be closer to the bottom of the range. But if I know I've been doing this for 10 years and I could probably do it in my sleep, I should probably be at the top of the range. And if I'm that experienced and you offer me something closer to the bottom, we are off. And now we have a starting point for negotiation. Okay. But if I accept and I think that it's fair and I know that I'm in alignment with all the things, sure, heck yeah. But should I make the first offer? Usually not. I should usually not make the first offer. And it's because of what we talked about earlier. We usually don't have enough information to make the first offer. We don't know all that is expected of us in detail at the point of making the first offer. Like, I have no full, complete context of what you are expecting me to do for you. How does success, or, how does success get measured? Um, is this just totally your opinion? Do we have metrics in place? Like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be getting paid. So let me have you throw out a number. I want to do my research, and then we'll see how we can come together at that win-win space. Okay, you were told by a compensation professional, if the job description has the range provided, the company typically sticks to the range. Negotiating outside the range will be hard. Yeah, I agree with that. Um, Again, is as long as these organizations are operating in good faith, then the range they're providing is the range, especially certain like government type jobs, state jobs, these kinds of things. Like, you can't mess with their ranges at all. Like, they are set almost darn near in stone. And so you can't negotiate outside of the prescribed range. Again, the most you could do is negotiate within the range. So if the range is 50 to 60, you can take the offer from 50 to 55, but you can't go from 50 to 65 because the range caps at 60 for that role. And so there are definitely some kind of industry spaces where there is no negotiating outside of their designated range. But the answer is truly, it depends. There are, more often than not, you are not going to want to make the first offer because you don't have enough information. And sometimes if they were willing to give you 80 and you asked for 60, whoopsie. Whoopsie. And that goes right back to, do you even know what you were supposed to be earning? Mm, okay. Now, another exception to this is when you are working with a recruiter. If you are working with a recruiting agency, um, I do absolutely share the salary expectations with the recruiter, because oftentimes the recruiter can and will conduct negotiations on your behalf. They benefit from you getting the most money. The more you get, the higher they get, because they get paid a percentage of your salary. And so I love working with recruiters, but recruiters only want to work with kind of like best of the best of the best of the best, or those who they perceive as best of the best of the best of the best. And so don't feel discouraged if a recruiter doesn't call you back. Usually it's just like they're super busy, they're super overwhelmed. They're still human people who have lives and families and emergencies and all those kinds of things. But also, you might just not be what they're looking for. And that doesn't make you less than, it makes you not what they are looking for. That's all. That's all. Trans says, what annoys me is when the range is 55 to 155. I know, that's so stupid. And you specify for a non-sales role because it would make sense almost for a sales role that might have some commission component, right? Where between bonus and all these other things, like you could really earn a significant amount more. But if it's a non-commission, like what the heck, what kind of range is this? And so I think it's more of a matter of like technical expertise. If you're a subject matter expert, versus kind of a newbie or a junior participant, yeah, the range could be wide, but that's a really ignorantly wide range, and I don't like it. And it's more of a game playing tactic that I just don't like to be a part of. Um, so again, if you're looking to interview just for the sake of interview experience, go for it. But otherwise, sometimes I think the more we ignore these companies that are out here trying to play games, like we actually, that's part of the fight that we could be kind of putting up. And so, yeah, it's annoying, it's foolish. But fight for some of these things. Let me see. Okay. So is it best to ask for the salary range budget? Well, again, once the offer has been made, then you can say, "Hey, can I get a sense of what your budget is for total compensation?" And then that way I can gauge some of my negotiations around what you're able to put forth. So yeah, you can ask different things in different ways, but again, best practice, most ideal time to negotiate is when you have an offer on the table. Um, yeah, recruiters will probably ask up front. So not even they can ask up front, they can ask at second interview, like they can ask at any point in time, but their job again is to help get you in front of the right employers and help, hopefully you are the candidate that is picked for the role, because if you are the candidate that's picked and they brought you forward, they get a percentage in their own pocket. And so it's a good thing sometimes to work with a recruiter. I like working with recruiters a lot. And I like for a lot of my clients, I'll recommend that they work with a recruiter if they have good relationships with recruiters. Um, Let me see, Jesse. More and more companies are providing a range in the job description. At least that's what I've seen. Yeah, because they're getting smarter, because they're seeing more and more. Look, if more and more people go through the whole interview process and then they're disappointed at the very end, if everybody expected 100,000 and you keep offering everybody 50 and everybody keeps telling you thanks but no thanks, at some point I'm either going to start changing my budget for salary, or I'm going to start just sharing that this position pays 50 and get who I get. And I'm going to get the more junior people, and I need to be okay with that. So it's something, again, the more we don't just kind of fall for whatever they offer, they're going to get smarter and they are going to be more accommodating for the future us and for those who come after us. Okay. You said it so nicely. Can I see what the budget is for the total compensation? Can you oh, girl, you have to listen to the recording. Don't make me try to repeat what I said in real time because I don't remember everything I said. Okay. Sorry, but do listen to the recording. I think we're at the hour and a half mark. So if that's helpful to you. Okay. And then where can you find good recruiters? You can search for recruiters on LinkedIn. You can do a Google search for recruiter plus your location, right? Recruiter plus Phoenix plus semiconductors or whatever, like whatever it is that you're doing, and you can identify who the right recruiters are. I like LinkedIn. Yes, you can hire me. Some of you can hire me. But yeah, I'm at pushcareermanagement.com, just if anybody, and I'll have a link to connect with me on LinkedIn later. But I definitely want to make sure that we stay connected. And this is important stuff. Look, we are out here. People, we play too many games. We prioritize the wrong things. I see it so often that folks are out here with brand new Gucci bags and season tickets to the football games. And then I'm like, work with me to let's get your career in order. They're like, oh, I can't afford that. Like, I'm sorry, what's that now? You know your career is the one thing that's going to keep giving back again and again and again and again. This is the one place you need to make sure everything is tight and good and ready to go. And so the better you are at negotiating your salary and working in the right places and all of these things, the better and more fulfilled your whole life can be. And then, can I negotiate after receiving more information about the company benefit package, for example, adjustment if I opt not to use it? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's once the offer usually has like the benefit package and all of the pieces, and that's where you will negotiate kind of piece for piece. Absolutely. That is something I've even done that where at the time I was married and my then spouse had health insurance that was actually better than the health insurance of my would-be employer. And so I'm like, well, hey, is there any benefit for me to opt out of the health insurance through you? And they were like, actually, yeah, we give you so many dollars back to your paycheck if you opt out of the health insurance. I was like, well, then heck yeah, let's do that. So yeah, there are definitely things that you can do to make sure you're good. Okay. All right. So we already talked about it. We talked about fear a lot, and I told you there were going to be certain things that I wanted to repeat a few different times because this could be really brand new information for so many people. Brand new, first time you've ever heard it. Some of you are like, "Oh no, this is not new." Okay, then just get what you get out of this conversation. But there are lots of you here today, you have never heard some of this stuff before. And I'm not the inventor of it. It's just, it was new to me at one point. And so we have a whole new challenge in front of us. Again, once upon a time, people were fighting for the right to vote. Uh, Women, African Americans in this country. Folks are just, they have been fighting for a whole lot of different major frontiers throughout the course of this nation's history. This is your moment. This is your moment. And so sometimes we need a blueprint. We don't know how to ask for what we're supposed to ask for. We don't know how, and we can't even get out of our own heads. When we believe, I'm not worthy. What if they rescind the offer? What if they're right? What if I don't deserve all of this? Like, I should just be grateful. Come on. You really think you got this far in your career, what, by accident? You think you just failed up your whole career? Or do you think you've done some things? Sometimes this is why I love working with people on their resumes, is because they get to see through a different set of eyes, like, you are amazing. You have done this, you have done that, you have done all of these wonderful things, and you didn't know it because you were over there saying, oh, I just did that. Oh, I just managed those projects. It was no big deal. I'm so sick of the word just. I'm so sick of it. You didn't just do that thing. You did a thing that very few other people could ever do, but you've assigned the word just to it. And now it feels meaningless even to you. And if it feels meaningless to you, then how do you think you are going to show up courageously, boldly, and bravely and ask somebody else for more? You're not. And then you couple that with what you've been told your whole life, you're not. The fear will take hold and you can chicken out. I had a client last year. We went through a whole series of salary negotiation, coaching, and the whole thing. Came down to the wire, and she was like, I know you're gonna be mad at me, but I totally chickened out. And she took what they gave her, and now she's mad. Like the we already know the cycle that she's gonna be in. She's mad. She's like, I'm not, and I hope the pay increase this year is gonna be enough. I was like, okay, good luck. Like, The best time, what did we say? Hold on, let me find that quote again. Your stock is never higher than the period between the offer and the acceptance. Her stock will never be that high at that place again. Never. So, this is a call to courage. There have been time, I'll tell you guys, look, I I don't know if you believe me or not. I have no reason to lie to you, but I am so afraid of certain bugs. Like so afraid of certain bugs. And I unfortunately passed that fear onto my daughter. And now we are two adult women living together by ourselves in Arizona. So guess what? Those bugs show up from time to time, right? And so the other day I have to speak quietly because she's still here and I don't want her to hear me say this. The other day, it was like a few months ago actually. I'm coming up the steps and I was like, wait, what? You can be a bug slayer. Thank you, Angelica. I was coming up the steps, y'all, and I saw something on my stairs and I didn't really like it didn't even really register at first, but I was just like, wait, what? No, no, that couldn't be that. No. And I like it was kind of half dark, half light. And so I like pulled out my little phone flashlight and I shined the light on the thing. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Here's this thing. I can't even say the word, y'all. It wasn't okay. I can't say the word. It wasn't this one. It was I call it the R word. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The cucaracha. You know what I'm talking about. Stop. Don't make me say it. Oh my gosh. Whew. Okay. So of course, like this is not like a right, ew. So this is not something that I deal with. I'm like, we're not dirty or anything, but they come in from outside. Okay. So when I tell you, I was like, I gotta get this thing. Because if I don't get this thing, my daughter's gonna see it and she's gonna freak out. And I don't know what she's likely to do. And I was like, I gotta deal with it. And I had to be this kind of, I had to enter into my mama bear zone. Like I had to get there. I had to find the courage and find the strength and be bold and be brave and get the shoe and get the spray. And I'm like, I was armed with both hands. I had spray and shoe and I'm ready in case this thing scurries off somewhere. Like I'm ready. And I mean, I had to do the countdown and I had to do the deep breathing and all the call upon the ancestors, like all the things, find the strength, do the things. And three, two, and I was like, wait a minute, three, two, one. You know, you try to do three, two, one. Okay, wait. Three, two, one. Okay, wait. I'm gonna do it for real. And so I did the countdown a few times and I was like, okay, here we go. Three, two, one, slap. And it's like beat that thing to death because I had to go through all of those emotions. So now that's twice now. I have shared with you the mental agony of the journey of facing a fear. Do you think it's an accident that I've shared these two scenarios with you? Because this is the same sweaty hands, stomach churning, mind melting fear that you are likely to face when the salary conversation comes for you. And so learn from me that it is possible to overcome one's fear and it's not always going to be pretty, and yet you can still do it. Okay. Whew. Okay. Sorry, that gave me a few. I need a drink of water. Okay. Flashbacks. Okay. So we, again, need a blueprint. So how does this whole process work? Well, I'm glad you asked. And if you stuck around this far, I hope you've been kind of emotionally primed, mentally primed, because now we get to the practical. Because all the practical won't help you if you're too afraid to apply it. It won't help you to know that you're supposed to research and look at 3 data points. None of this will help you if you refuse to even try. Okay? So let's get into it. If I'm preparing for a salary negotiation, I am one going to study the organization. I want to know, are they kind of known as an industry leader? Do they tend to have a reputation for very competitive pay, which means they're probably outpacing certain averages, right? Um, Intel pays better than Microchip. They just do. They just do. And so we have to know the kind of state of affairs, not just from the industry perspective, but also from the company within the industry perspective. And here's my rule on salary research is you need a minimum of 3 data points. Minimum. I'm going to show you an example in a second, but a minimum. Why? Because even as an engineer, I still believe in data, y'all. I can't help it. But it's the 3 data points that will show you if something is a trend or is the information like really off base? Are we kind of all in the same general vicinity? If you're ever asking for something, I'm like, hey, just get me in the ballpark. And this is what 3 data points will get you is in the ballpark of what you're supposed to be earning for the work that you're getting ready to do. And so here are some various resources that you can explore. I do happen to like Indeed, salary.com, Bureau of Labor Statistics, and Glassdoor. But you may also check out industry trade journals. Like one of the mechanisms that helps me to know if my pricing as a professional coach and resume writer, are they kind of average, above average, well above average, below average, is because we have industry trade journal. And there are like every 2 years a new survey is done, and folks provide input to that survey. And so it really provides a sense of kind of where do I stand among my peers. That's good information to have, right? Because if I'm undervalued, that's not good. And if I'm priced way too high, it's just like, come on now, what are we trying to do out here? And so trying to help find that sweet spot, even as an entrepreneur, can be super helpful. Okay. But these are some great resources, and we're going to look at salary.com, ONET, and Glassdoor for a particular. I'm not seeing y'all light up the chat anymore. Is everybody still here? Are we okay? Does everybody need a drink of water? I love y'all. Thank you. Okay. I love it. So, all right, let's take a look here. Trans, stop. I know I'm itchy. I can't breathe. I won't be able to sleep tonight. Okay. Um, so what I did here was looked for an IT project manager. Yes, I'm reusing this from a talk I did for a project management organization. So of course I did. Like, of course I looked for IT project manager because darn it, that's one of my specialties. And so if I want you to note some of the slight discrepancy between the data points, right? If I looked at 3 data points, salary.com, ONET, and Glassdoor, you'll see that salary.com and Glassdoor, they have a decent overlap. A decent overlap. Um, the median here is at 124 with the low end being about 100 and the high being about 150. And so this median is probably in the middle somewhere, maybe 140, 50, somewhere in there. Okay. Versus ONET, you can see the median is all the way at 96 for the state of Arizona. All of these were Phoenix, Arizona, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. Same role, same city, three slightly different data sets. Okay, 101 to 150, 121. So this one, if I overlaid it here, would be like from here to over here somewhere. While this one is 49 to 157. So it'll be here to here somewhere. And our goal is to find that area where they kind of all overlap, which would be here. That's where they would all overlap, is somewhere between 124 and 157-ish. That's where they're all going to overlap. Now, so if I'm looking to say, how much should I be earning for the work that I'm getting ready to do as an IT project manager in Phoenix, Arizona? It better be somewhere at minimum between 124 and 157. So if somebody comes and tells me, "Hey, really love interviewing with you. We are excited to offer you 70,000." Thank you, but no. Thank you, but no. Or thank you, but I'd like to have a conversation. Because you know where you're supposed to be. This is half the battle right here. Is simply show up and do a little research. What are you supposed to be earning? And make sure to do a sanity check by looking at least 3 data points. That's where this comes from. And so we have to find that place of overlap. We have to find it. And then we have to remember that it's going to be hard, but I can do hard things. You say to yourself, I don't care what you say. If Brenda could kill that bug, I can ask for this money. If she can do that, I can do this. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be, knees weak, arms are sweaty, is vomit on his sweater already, mom spaghetti. Like, yeah, it's gonna be nerve wracking. It's gonna be hard, hard, hard. And yet you can do hard things, especially when you're armed with information. Especially then. You're not just out here guessing, you're operating with facts. You're operating with information, not opinion. It's not my opinion that you should make 124 to 157. These are facts based on 3 different data sources. These are facts. And I don't have to believe in the fact. It's just a fact. Like, whether I believe in it or not, it's still just factual information. It's not bragging. It's not declaring that you are better than. It's none of it. It's simple numbers that represent what people are earning doing the same work in the same city. Facts. Yes, we could tell. Listen, get the darn Carfax report. We could tell them we fact checked it. Fact check. You are hilarious. I can't even with you. Don't get me started. Okay. Uh, so yes, good one. Um, but this is real talk, and I want to make sure that we're super like let's sit here a minute if we have to. This is such an important core of the salary conversation. It starts with the facts of knowing what you are supposed to be earning. Okay. And so again, you pick your favorite three. It doesn't have to be these three. I just happen to like these three. But you pick your favorites. Okay. Now, we've talked a couple of times about when to have the conversation. And I've shared with you this statement: your stock is never higher than the period between the offer and acceptance of the offer. So, when to have the conversation, when is the best time to have the conversation? When you get an offer. What if they ask you what you're supposed to, what if they ask you your salary expectation before the offer is ever made? What do we say? I don't have enough information yet. I think I'll be in a better position to answer that question once an official offer has been made and I have a far better handle on the specific expectations of me in this role. I can't just come up with a number based on limited information. I can't do that. Okay? But you do have to know what you want and why do you deserve it. So if we look back at that 124 to 157, and let's just say this is, you've done this for 2 years, you had some success, nothing's, super out of this world. Do I expect you to be at the top of that range or toward the bottom of that range? Probably toward that kind of lower quadrant there. But again, if I could do this in my sleep, I could do this, blindfolded with one hand behind my back. I better be up at the darn top. I just better darn be. And so, w- even knowing where you fall within the range is very important information. If you're more comfortable, and this is a technique that I use all the time, write it down. Write down your question, your statement, your negotiation points and tactics. Write down every word that you feel like you want to say. I believe in scripting things out when they're necessary. Now, I'm teaching this class unscripted. Why? Because I've taught this class before. Because I've taught salary negotiation before. I don't need a script to tell you something that I just know. But when I'm doing something for the first time, the first few times I taught this class, I had notes galore, galore, every which way. What example am I going to share? What am I going to talk about here? How am I going to fill this space? I was scripting like a beast. And so we are not going to feel any kind of way about following a script or giving ourselves some form of a guide to move the conversation along. We're already nervous. Do we really need the added stress of trying to remember everything that we plan to say? Or can we just write it down and read it? It's fine. Even email it. It's fine. Who said your negotiation had to be voice to voice? Who said? I didn't say that. Because I don't think it's true. I think you can have a voice to voice conversation if you're comfortable with that. And certainly, I think it was Jesse that's in like the sales space. If you're in the sales space, you probably want to do voice to voice because that's another just kind of part of your profession. You better be able to have those kinds of negotiations and conversations. And it makes total sense for your role in sales. But if you're, I mean, even on some level, like a project manager, like you're often having to negotiate for resources, but you're also communicating a lot through email. And email is a perfectly fine medium. perfectly fine medium. And so one of the things that I think helped me the most was understanding that negotiation wasn't like shouting demands across the room. Negotiation for me was simply asking a question or a series of questions. So I could still achieve my goals and still feel comfortable in my own skin simply by asking questions. Hey, according to my research, it looks like the typical compensation is X. What could we do to move the needle? What could we do to get a little bit closer to that? I've seen that this position is typically compensated with X, with certain number of weeks of PTO. How can we work together to get closer to those targets? See how that's not like super demanding? It's just a question. What can we do? The salary component looks great. I'd love to discuss a few other areas, including PTO, relocation, telecommuting, bonus, professional development, etc. And then choose your own environment, email, phone, Zoom. Now, one of the things, again, I'll make sure, and Bree will send this out to everybody. Make sure if you haven't checked in, make sure you got to be checked in because you won't get it. I have a handout that I will make sure every one of you gets, and it has on that handout the negotiation conversation guide that has specific language that if you want, you could just read it. You could just read it. Thank you, Carol. You could read it and you can assess. There are different negotiation dimensions. I don't know if you can see how many things are on that list, but it's so much more than pay. It's so much more than pay. And so write it out, script that thing out. It's free to ask nicely. Yes, it is, Angelica. Um, yeah, the worst. Now, again, let me be super clear. The worst they can say is, "Oh my gosh, you had the audacity to ask for more. We're going to rescind our offer." Okay, well, thanks. Thanks for not making me endure working with a bunch of jerks. Thanks for that. But typically speaking, yeah, the worst they're going to just say is, "You know what? It's really just not in our budget. I'm so sorry. I hope you'll still consider the offer." Okay. Then now the choice is yours. Or you could weigh out some of these other factors. So we'll talk about those in just a moment. Um, you said, I like the idea. Everything is in writing and you can just hug the script during the interview. Um, would help with my interview anxiety. Thank you. Oh, you're so super welcome. Yeah, a lot of times I think we think that we have to just kind of carry everything up here, and it's simply not true. It's simply not true. So, scripting if necessary. Now, earlier somebody alluded to, um, what if they are kind of trying to test you? What if they'll see your performance and if you meet certain expectations after so many months, we we will pay you more. Okay, here's the thing. I'm again not a fan of that if it's not written down. If it's not signed, written, documented, I mean, I don't got to go notarized, but it needs to be written and signed. Because otherwise, you're just kind of at the mercy of somebody else's, oh, no, we never talked about that. Oh, that's not what I meant. Oh, no, I mean, we get into too much of that ambiguity, and I'm not here for those kinds of games. And so if you find yourself in a position where it is, I can't do it now, I just don't have the budget yet, or we're waiting for this grant to be renewed, or whatever the scenario is, in the next 6 months, I want to position myself for this. What are those, can we develop a plan to get there? What are the elements of that plan? Write them down, make sure it's signed, measure your own progress. Don't expect anybody else to track it for you. Measure your own progress, and then report back on some regular frequency. If you said 6 months, don't wait the whole 6 months to check back. Because now it's just like, well, that's not, no, check back and it might be every 2 months. And now there's opportunity to course correct if necessary. You see how we're not out here playing games? How we're not allowing other people to play games with us either? Because this is too important. It's too ridiculously important for us to be out here allowing people to play games on us. Okay. And yes, it is so much more than just money. Money is your base pay. But what about other things like bonus? Um, like I said earlier, like adoption assistance or um, leave of absence or short-term disability or 401k match. There's a whole host of things, and I'll read some from the handout. Um, Education assistance, voluntary life insurance. Let me see, vision. It's so funny to me that like vision isn't always standard medical coverage. I don't even understand that. Yeah, Jennifer, I interviewed with a company that didn't even offer a 401k. Shocked. I mean, I'm a little shocked, but some companies are too small. They don't have the budget to be able to offer that sort of benefit for everyone. So, again, here's the deal. I talk about this in the interview class, but I think it's appropriate here. Just because somebody offers you something doesn't mean you have to take it. If it's not the right fit, if they're not matching 401k, like what good are you? You're not even gonna match my 401k. I'm sorry. Why am I gonna show up and work super hard, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week? I'm not gonna do that. And you can't even meet me halfway with some 401k percentage points. You know what? This is not gonna be a good fit. And so again, do you take every relationship that's offered to you? Do you buy every car that they try to sell you? Do you like you don't? And neither do you have to take every job that is offered to you. Even if the money might be right, but the boss could be a jerk. You still don't have to take it. Or you can take it and leave a way of escape for yourself so that you can continue to pursue the better thing. Okay? All right. But yeah, everything, you might even negotiate a title upgrade. One of the things that I've been encouraging folks who were like, I think I'm getting ready to get laid off, but I don't know. And I'm like, okay, we are really seeing the need for people to negotiate like career transition assistance services if a layoff should result, that they are going to receive transition support, and they can now call somebody like me and I'll set them up, write their resume, their LinkedIn profile, provide them with some coaching, and they have all the tools and techniques to get to where they want to be next. But they didn't pay for it. And so if you're finding yourself in that situation, please talk to your HR department and just say, "Hey, can I'd love for you to be able to incorporate into like your severance agreement that they're going to cover career transition assistance." And let them know you want to be able to choose your provider, because some of these big box providers out here just hiring people to fill seats. Um, they don't know any more about a resume than you do. So please be careful. That's all I'm saying. So all of this is on the handout, and I will make sure that you have that. So again, for everybody who has um, checked in, signed in for today's conversation, you will receive that handout. So just making sure, if you're not sure if you've checked in, please say so, and we'll make sure to get you that information. Okay. All right. So just as we're kind of coming up on the end here, I put a few slides in here for anybody who is in the entrepreneurial space. So not everybody was necessarily a job seeker, and some of you were pursuing, um, maybe you're a business owner or pursuing something along those lines. Would you let me know in the chat if that applies to anyone here? Because otherwise I'll bypass some of those slides and we can spend more time just in Q&A mode. All right. But here are some secret weapons, just to kind of recap all the things. So we are not going to be a statistic. We are not going to be part of that 60% that never even tries. We are going to be a part of the group that receives that 18.83% jump because they've been courageous and they have received the benefit, the return on that time and courage investment. Making sure that you know you're fit, and that you're doing the right work, the right function in the right industry, and you're operating within the things that matter to you. Again, if money matters to you and they're paying you right and you don't care about working for a jerk, carry on. But if you care greatly about okay, thank you guys. We will talk about some of the business stuff because there's enough of you in here that will benefit from that. So we will talk about that. But knowing your fit again really causes you to show up in the right way with the right energy. And I'm far more likely to give you what you want if you are coming with that right energy. But if you're just kind of lackluster, like I'm really just here for the paycheck, I'm not giving you anything more. Like I barely want you here. I'm just hiring you because I need somebody. Okay. So don't underestimate how much your enthusiasm for a thing will play into your ability to successfully negotiate that win-win situation. Research your data points. How many data points? That's right. Thank you, Jennifer. 3 data points at minimum. Thank you, everybody. 3 data points because we're not out here playing games. We're not out here guessing, and we're not out here just letting our imaginations run wild. We're letting the data speak. These are facts, hard, factual pieces of information that can now say to an employer, thank you for this offer. According to my research, I see it's supposed to be here. What can we do to move the needle? But if you don't have that, what it's supposed to be, we out here guessing. We out here playing games, and we not out here playing games. Okay, we're going to have the conversation. We're going to sweat through it. We're going to be scared through it. We're going to shake, rattle, and roll through that thing. We're going to do some countdowns through that thing. We're going to script the thing out. We're going to just feel all the feelings, practice if you need to, like phone a friend, call your therapist, like do whatever is required of you to do. If you got to pray and read your Bible, and do a meditation and bow to the direction of Mecca. I don't care what it takes. Do it and ask for what you know you are supposed to be earning for the value that you're bringing in return. Okay. And then finally, we're going to consider all of the dimensions beyond pay. We're going to explore things like telecommute, PTO, uh, educational assistance, 401k matching, stock vesting schedules. All of those kinds of things can absolutely help to set you up when you're in that prime space between when the offer is extended and when the offer is accepted. Okay. Jennifer asks, what does FIT stand for again? Function, industry, and things that matter. These are the things that um, have to be in place in order for you to make sure that you have the right fit for the work that you're doing. The function, the name of the work, right? I'm a project manager in the industry, semiconductor space. And the things that matter to me is that I have the ability to work from home sometime, or that my commute is not more than whatever. and that I work for a smaller or medium-sized company or whatever. I want to work in a culture that values diversity and things like that. Those are going to be things that matter to you. Um, for me, diversity absolutely matters. For one, I'm over it. I'm over being like the only one in the room. I'm over it. And it's time out for that anyway. It's time out for there still being the only one of anything in a room. The only woman, the only black person, the only whatever. Like I'm over it. And so if those are things that matter to me, you have to know what matters to you. Okay. Thank you, Jay. Because this is yeah, I'm feeling real feisty today. I see it. I feel it. Okay. Thank you, Trisha. All right. Now, for those who are on the business side, don't check out if you're not in business. Don't check out because I want you to hear some of the struggles that sort of, business folks are going to have to go through too. Because as a consumer, right, it can be good to hear the other side of the coin, the other perspective. And so just don't check out. It's fine. And we won't take long, I promise, but we will talk about when you have to negotiate your business rates. And so here's the deal. I hold a consultation for anybody that's interested in working with me. The anybody, I'm like, please don't send me an email or whatever, but I'm always just like, hey, the best thing to do is schedule a consultation with me, click the link, and you can get on my calendar and I'll be able to assess your needs, ask some questions, make some recommendations, and give you some pricing. Fine, very straightforward. And I also tell people if they don't need to work with me, like I'm be the first to say, you know what, you're good. Like what I'm seeing, I'm liking. Like no notes. Carry on, do the darn thing. I want to be your friend, Angelica. I want to be your friend. So no, this is real talk. We at the end of the day, as entrepreneurs, we need to know our pricing and how we compare to others in our space. We do. And then familiarize yourself with your respective industry reports. So again, you'll know, thank you, Sean. Appreciate you being here. You'll know kind of where do you rank, where do you stack among other service providers in your same functional area. Fine. Um, here's the deal. When I first started in business, I charged a little bit. Why did I charge a little bit? Because it was only worth a little bit. Because I wasn't very good yet. Like I was okay. I mean, I got the job done, and I did decent, but I wasn't very good. Like I was decent. I will say that. And so I charged very decent prices. Very beginner prices for very beginner work. And at some point, I grew, I evolved, I learned, I developed, and I took courses and I earned certifications. There are so many letters behind my name. Like I don't even include all my little letters anymore. Like I'm like, we just gonna run out of space. Thank you, Jesse. We're gonna run out of space trying to include all the letters. And so we don't have time for that. I, at some point, knew that I knew that I knew I had been validated enough by enough credentials that I had now earned the right to charge what I was paying, or excuse me, to charge what I was charging people because they were getting the results that they were asking for every time. They were winning. Some folks out here tripling their salaries, and I'm like, and I'm out here charging these little bit of dollars. No, 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 no. Y'all out here winning far greater than me. Uh, and so I knew I went through a whole host of kind of self-test to make sure I had earned the right to charge the fee that I was requesting. And so make sure the same is true for you. You can stand firm and articulate your value, but make sure you've earned the right to charge that thing. If you're at the very beginning of your career and you don't know a whole lot yet and you can't help me navigate most situations, don't think you could charge me the same as somebody who is an expert in their field. We shouldn't be in the same caliber of pricing. But sometimes there are going to be folks that try to push you, that try to press you and say, well, I don't know, that seems really high. Well, can you offer me a discount? I mean, can we just do it for less? I mean, it shouldn't take that much time. How the heck would you know how much time it takes for me to do my work on the back end? And so we have to learn how to stand firm and articulate our value. And here's my thing is be willing to refer. I'm not going to lower my price. But I have a great vast network of other practitioners that I will refer you to that might be at a different price point. I'm not going to say to you, oh, okay, well, I'll negotiate my pricing with you. I'm not negotiating my pricing because I know it's worth every penny. Because I know you're going to get back way more than I get back out of this equation. I know that with great confidence. And so if for whatever reason it's outside of your budget, it's outside of your interest to pay that kind of money, whatever, it's fine. I'm happy to refer to a colleague who can probably better meet your price point expectations. And then we also need to think about having a few options. This happened last week. An individual said, oh, well, that seems a little high. Can you come down on price? I was like, well, here's what we could do. I could offer you this fee, but that only includes these other services, not the whole comprehensive set of what you're asking for. Would you like to move forward with this kind of more limited set of services? Oh, no, I really want the big thing. I just want to pay less. Well, unfortunately, if you would like, I can refer you to another colleague who is able to meet those price points. But for me and mine, this is what we do, and this is how much it costs. And so let me know if you're prepared to move forward. And that let me be super clear. That took a long time and many, many moons to be able to get to that place. So yes, you need that kind of confidence. Well, so did I for a long time. Wasn't born with it. Okay. This was years in the making of being able to get to the place where I could say no to a client and or a prospective client and walk away when it's not the right fit. Why? The same reason we don't take less for a job, because I'm going to end up resenting them. It does. It takes me hours on the back end to do most of the projects that I work on. Hours, like usually like a full day and a half kind of thing. And so really when it breaks down, like I'm not getting paid that much by the hour when it all breaks down. The value that you get in return is priceless, but I'm somehow like the bad guy for kind of standing my ground like I'm not. And so let me see here. Hold on. Yeah, that confidence, it took a long time to nurture. A very long time to nurture. Carolina, you said, especially because you have the expertise, each minute that you provide us with coaching. Yeah. And just so we're clear, this is see, y'all thought y'all were coming to a free workshop today, didn't you? Because you didn't pay to be here, right? So you thought you were coming to a free workshop and you were like, oh, they're going to give us some real high level stuff. They're not going to really teach us anything and they're going to try to sell us something. I'm not trying to sell you nothing. I want to give you everything I could give you. And in the spirit of transparency, I am compensated for today, not by you, but by those federal grant monies that I told you about earlier. Right. And so it was my obligation to come here today and show up and provide value to you. I hope I have done that. Okay. But yeah, we too, whether you're a job seeker or you're an entrepreneur or whatever, we all need to know when to walk away. Some clients are not our clients, and that's okay. I look, at some point in time, I said yes to everybody. I did because I was not in a position to say no. But I always like these were short-term projects and I knew I could be in and be out and I would never have to talk to you again if I didn't like you. I knew that. But now I'm just like, even that little short term, I'm like, I'm just not willing to do that. If you show me you're gonna be this like demanding right up front, like I'm probably just gonna be out. You don't trust me to do my job. You wanna hover over me every step of the way. You're checking in every day. You're an adult and you're providing these services for your children, and you're not letting them steer the ship. You want to be in control. Like, I'm out. I'm out. And so it took some serious time to be able to reach this point. But these are some points that I want to make sure that you understand from a business perspective as well, that we don't all have to simply kind of take what we're given. We have the ability to walk away from certain would-be clients if they are not a right fit for us. We can always offer fewer options. If they're asking for some sort of a price break, like don't change your price for the same service, offer fewer service, and now they can meet that lower price. Okay. And then at the end of the day, one of the things that really just set me free was the willingness to refer, the ability to refer, the network to be able to refer with confidence. And so I said, well, if I price so high, aren't there going to be people who can't afford my service? Like, the whole point is to be able to help people. I was like, well, first of all, you can't help everybody. You can't help people that can't pay you, because then you can't help anybody, because you won't be in business. And who's to say that you shouldn't refer them on to a colleague so that they can build their skill set and they can get to that next level. So I just got really set free with being able to charge what I knew my services were worth. Okay. Um, because I knew that I had a referral network that I could fall back on. Oh, Tran, I really appreciate you and that note. Yeah, you'll be great. Um, I want us all to stay connected. I want us all to stay connected. Um, these are a few of the resources that I offer through, my company. But more importantly, I want you all to grab this QR code. Now, I don't have the link to it right now. I can try to grab it, but this is my LinkedIn page. It just takes you directly there. So if you can grab it or screenshot it or do whatever you got to do, or just go to LinkedIn and search for Brenda Mariah. But let's make sure to connect. Don't listen here. Here's my rule. Don't follow me. Connect with me. Because the difference is, if you follow me, you can see what I post, but I can't see what you post. I can't see what's going on with you. I can't keep tabs and celebrate your successes. And so, Ella, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed with this comment. Um, yes, yes, Ella. And congratulations. Again, I knew today would be planting a lot of seeds, that we're overcoming again lifetimes worth of training and suppression, and just be grateful and all of that. Today is a whole new day. And I'm telling you, if I can face off with the darn cucaracha, you could do this. It will be hard, and you can do hard things. Okay. Now, I got to get through these couple little slides, but then I'm going to leave the rest of our time open just for questions. Okay. Um, these dates are old. I get that, but I want it more so than anything for you to grab this link so that you can always check for any upcoming free workshops through Arizona at Work, Pinal County, and Career Connectors. So you can always grab the latest and greatest there. And then just a little bit about Career Connectors, which again, I adore. I love and I believe in the mission. Um, and I'll look, you could read this all day. I'm going to tell you from my perspective, I love how Career Connectors shows up for professionals in transition. They provide resources, they provide employers access to opportunities. They try to partner with as many different entities as possible, like training entities. They partner again, like with Arizona at Work, Pinal County, all the things to plug in and make sure to help you to accelerate your own career transition. And that's what I'm all about. So, of course, I'm going to partner with Career Connectors. Of course, I am, because we share in that vision and in that mission. So, um, just please, if you don't know a whole lot about Career Connectors, plug into some of their events. And then here are, again, some of their upcoming unique to Career Connectors events. Um, Student career exploration. I'll tell you, I wish that this was a thing, I don't know, 2 years ago, especially when my son was kind of going through, he didn't have a clue. And I'm like, I tried to send him through a couple of things. He went to school for a semester and he just really didn't have his life figured out. He's doing very well now, but it took some serious doing. Where are the jobs? This is the question of the day, right? Where the heck are the jobs? And so make sure that you're showing up for these things. And then job searching in 2025. Come on, like figure out how things have evolved since the last time you might have been in a job search, because it's hard enough. You definitely don't want to go out there without the latest and greatest information and perspectives and game plan. You definitely don't want that. Okay. So that's the end of our slides today. I'm going to stop the share and or I won't stop the share just in case somebody wants me to point back to a particular slide, but I want to leave. Oh, it looks like an in-person job fair next Wednesday from 3 to 5. Thank you, Terry. I don't know much about that. So, oh, that's the student career exploration and community hiring event. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So that's what Terry is referring to. So, yep, go to careerconnectors.org/events and you can get registered for all of those upcoming things. And so with that said, I'm going to kind of stop talking for a moment here. I'll turn shortly over to chat, but I also just invite you to unmute yourselves and ask questions one at a time, and we'll keep going until we hit the 12 o'clock hour if necessary. But if there are no questions, we'll end a little bit early. So I'm here, I'm listening. Was this helpful today, and what questions remain?
I will say this was very helpful. Right now, I don't have any questions, but you've done great. I loved your stories and you have great energy. So thank you so much. Like I said, I would, I'd like to be your friend. You have such great energy. So thank you so much.
I adore you, Angelica. Yeah, thank you. And please, please, please make sure that we are connected on LinkedIn, okay? Are
Yes,
you there? Are you on LinkedIn?
yes, I already sent you a connection
Goody,
request.
goody. Okay. I'll check in a little bit.
All right.
Thank you for that. I appreciate you. And then let's see. Um, Ella asked, can you apply these principles to job promotions? Yes, especially here. Let me go back to, I'm gonna go back to this slide here. Um, so this piece right here, you could insert kind of almost any goal. And so in the next 6 months, I want to position myself for promotion. Um, can we develop a game plan to get there? Right. And so absolutely the same points, you still ought to know what you're supposed to be earning at the new rank. So nobody can come in and just lowball you, even with your promotion. But sometimes we don't always come in with the right kind of skill set or the full skill set that we need at that next level. And so it might be that the next so many months are development season for you. And so it might be a really great time to get into like leadership development or take some leadership webinars or courses on LinkedIn. It could be those kinds of things, or that you're even within your current company that you're starting to step up. Um, step into more leadership positions, invite yourself to certain leadership decision-making meetings, invite yourself to opportunities to interview new hires. Like, really make sure to plug in. Stop asking for permission and just start saying, hey, I want to get myself in position for a promotion in the next couple of months, and here's my plan. So this is a great, great, great application for today's conversation, is to get in position for promotion. Love it. Um, okay, let me go back to the questions. I love y'all. Um, so, running out the door. Oh, yep, yep, yep. Okay, and then hope to be able to use what I've learned soon. Yeah, come on, Tran, let's get it. Let's get it. And then Angelica put her, I think, her LinkedIn URL, and you all are all welcome to drop in your LinkedIn URLs in here. Ooh, Jennifer, this is so fun. I'm applying these principles at my garage sale tomorrow. It's my first one and I'm nervous. I love that. I I love that. Yeah, and it's so interesting because I'm also getting ready to move, and so I'll have some things that I need to sell, and so there will be some like Facebook Marketplace kind of, and that's a real, that's a real training ground for a good negotiation tactic, because folks will try to come at you, and you're like, well, it's $300. They're like, I'll give you 30. I'm like, well, thanks, but no. I'll give you one couch pillow for $30. I'm not giving you the whole couch. No. So again, you could see how it could be applicable to a whole host of situations when you know what it's supposed to be. When you know what it's supposed to be. Now, my couch that I paid, I don't know, 3 years ago, $1,200. And it really has been rarely sat on because we just really didn't spend a lot of time, me and my kids, in our living room. But my dog has had a field day scratching that couch up. And so I'm just like, man, you don't even know how much it just cost me. And so I'm like, I can't sell it for top dollar. It's all scratched up. He scratched fibers off of like two of the couch cushions. I'm like, I can't. And then my son decided to, I don't know, be a ninja or something, and he like sliced open one of the back pillows. I was like, are y'all serious right now? But now they're not like catastrophic damage. Like, the couch thing could be sewn up, and the other one, like if you put like a little blanket over it, it's perfectly fine. It sits just fine. It's a great, otherwise great condition. But I'm like, no, I'm not going to be able to like ask $800 for this thing, because it does have some damage, and so I have to be realistic about what I should expect for this thing. And I know what I won't expect. I won't accept anything less than. Like, no, am I gonna sell this for $50? No. I would almost rather give it away than to sell it to you for $50 when I know it's worth at least 300, just as an example. But great, great, great scenario. Yes, you can do it. Oh, April, thank you. And then, oh, no questions. Thank you for, yes, Trisha, come on, let's get it. Let's get it. Look, everything, let me tell you something, guys. Everything is going to feel good and giggly and warm and sunshine and rosy. You're going to feel like you got a big hug from Brenda today. And then you're going to get out and face the big bad real world. And then all that fear is going to come rushing right back. And you're going to be like, oh, I can't do this. Yes, you can. Start small. It doesn't have to be some, double my salary kind of negotiation. Just like ask for 10,000. Like, just ask for 10. Just ask for something. I want you to be proud of yourself, knowing that you did something that scared you and you did it anyway. And report back, because I will shout you out so hard. I will shout you out so hard, so loud when you've done something that scared you and you did it anyway. I'm proud of you, and I want to share that with the whole world. So if you'll share it with me, I'll share it with everybody else, because I'm freaking proud when we do those things that scare us and we do them anyway. Um, Thank you for providing your URL, Tran. Plan that promotion. That's right, Ella. Desiree says, this is a little off of the negotiation discussion, but when doing the job search, how do you make meaningful ties to companies you want to work for? How do you start getting recognized and get them to want to hire you? Let me make sure that you're still here, Desiree. You're still here. Hey. Um, One of my best approaches here, I mean, beyond just having like a solid resume, and I'm not even saying a professionally written resume. I think that's helpful, but it's not always necessary. And so here's the deal. You have your great resume, you have a great LinkedIn profile that articulates very clearly who you are, what you do, how you've done it well in the past. You've painted the picture very vividly of what you could do for me. There are no questions. I'm not confused when I look at you, none of that. That's like foundation. Okay. So if that's solid, the next level is to have an army of advocates. These are people that are out here vouching for you. And they could be anywhere from a recruiter, right? Again, that you, because you got a solid portfolio foundation, resume, LinkedIn, tight. The recruiters are finding you or you're connecting with them and they're connecting back. Great. But also other people. So look, we have, I don't know, at some point, I think we had like 30 something people on this call, on this Zoom, just on this one Zoom call. And and sometimes when you share who you are, what you do, what you're looking for, somebody knows somebody who needs you. But because we end up being so shy about what we do and who we do it for and how good we are at what we do, nobody knows us. We're the world's best kept secret. Nobody knows what you could do but you. Nobody's out here vouching for you, advocating for you, saying that you're the best thing since sliced bread. And it's time out for that. We think it's being humble. We think we're being noble, but all we are is being secret and invisible. And the point is, you don't know who we know, who we have access to, what opportunities we have access to through a friend of a friend. You don't know what I heard last weekend at lunch. You don't know what I saw posted on LinkedIn yesterday. You don't know that. And so the more of us that you can get involved in your search and let us know who you are, what you do, and how good you are at that thing. By way of just use LinkedIn and talk about yourself when you're in a forum like this. Hi, I'm Desiree. I do X. I am really great with working with these kinds of populations. Awesome. And now if an opportunity had just come across my mind, I'll be like, hey, did you hear about such and so? Maybe go check them out. Let me know. Right. And then when we're well connected, I'm not talking about like stranger danger. I'm not talking about like you attended my workshop and now you sent me a connection request like, hey, Brenda, write me a referral. I don't know you. You know me a little bit, but I don't know you at all. And so I can't write you a recommendation. I can't like make a warm intro because I don't know. I don't know if you're going to show up on time. I don't know if you can spell. I don't know if you're going to go to work and act a fool. I don't know if you're going to be late every day. Like, I don't know these things about you. Now, I assume the best, but I don't know. And so, because I don't know, what you want to do is start nurturing relationships with people to the point where you can earn the right to ask, hey, would you write me a warm introduction? Because when I know you and I can vouch for you and I know that you know your stuff, heck yeah, I'm like, look, you need to hire this person. Don't ask questions, just get them on your team. I promise. And when you have those kind of advocates working for you, that's how you get those meaningful ties to those companies that you want to work for. It's through people. And so one of the best things that I will suggest to you is that you connect with people at the places where you want to be. So what does that mean? Of course, if you backward engineer that thing, it means you know where you want to be. And now you start the process of connecting with people in those places. And now you start doing things like liking, commenting, sharing on their posts, sending a few appropriate direct messages, right? Not telling somebody that they're beautiful and you want to date them. Don't do that. Nobody do that. Not on LinkedIn. There are apps for that. Not on LinkedIn. Okay. Um, and so this is I'm explaining it like it's simple. It's much harder to force yourself to show up and do those things, just like it's much harder for you to show up, force yourself to show up and have a negotiation. So hard. It's easy in theory, the conversation again, everything sounds fun and bubbly, but when the rubber meets the road, it's hard. There are emotions, you feel things, and it's scary. And so even a lot of my coaching clients, one of the things that I offer them is a conversation guide, like, because a lot of times you simply don't know what to say. And so I've taken all the mystery out of it. And like, I'm gonna just tell you what to say. Now you can modify it, of course, you should modify it. But foundationally, these are some things that you could say to these types of people to help move a conversation along and start to earn the right to ask for help. Okay, so it's not a sometimes we're looking for the easy, quick, right now answer. Like, what's one thing I can do today that can open up these? No, and usually the answer, the truest answer is it will take time to nurture, and eventually you can create those kinds of meaningful ties to the companies that you want to work for. Okay. Oh, good. So it looks like Jennifer has shared that the Career Connectors meeting from yesterday apparently addresses this very conversation. So great, great stuff. Okay. Thank you, Bree. You put the check-in link. Let's see, Terry, I need to update my resume for the production work at the semiconductor company, currently substitute teaching on my off shift days. Okay. Okay. Let me know if there was a question in there, but yes, amen. Do the darn thing. And we should all embrace having multiple versions of our resume. If we want to be a substitute teacher and work in a production environment, those are two very different resumes that speak to two very different audiences. We should all embrace that. Aaron asks, is it a good idea to ask for 24 hours to review the offer of a new employer and then get back to them? I've done that before and it seems like they were turned off by my request. That's not unreasonable at all. I've usually asked for like a week. And if I know that I'm expecting other offers, I might even ask for 10 days um, because I'm exploring other offers, because I'm expecting other offers. Like, this is not an unreasonable thing. And so, if, especially, look, here's the deal, like, I chuckle a little. Like, they put you through 5 rounds of interviews and you met with 12 different people, but now they need an answer in 10 minutes. No, ma'am. You will wait because I have a lot to think about. You will wait. And so they could be turned off all they want because I'm sure they're under some sort of internal pressure that does not translate to your emergency to respond just without thinking. Please take the time, request the time, and take the time that you need to think through the decision, weigh out all the pros and cons of commute and relocation and impact to your family and, just all the costs. Count all the costs, not just the income, count all the cost. And it's going to make sure that you're not walking into a position that you are ultimately going to resent. Okay. I hope that that helped, Aaron. Okay. And then, okay. Okay. Oh, Angelica was saying talk to her friends at the gym to network. Yeah. Look, our network, it doesn't happen just kind of magically, but it does happen very organically. Like, you probably have pals at the gym. You probably have pals at your place of like worship or spiritual place. You probably have pals like in your neighborhood. You have pals from high school, from college. You've got pals in all these different like pockets of your life. You got old coworkers that you consider pals. Like we are pals. Like here in this little audience, like your network is everywhere that you go. It's everywhere that you go. But because we tend to just kind of be silent observers in the background, nobody knows us. So I'm like, shoot, I'll say it. When you think of your career, when you think of your resume, when you think of your interview preparation, when you think of your salary negotiation, I hope you're thinking of me. What should we be thinking about when we think of you? Just saying. Okay. Yep. Angelica asked, should we be connecting with the hiring manager before the interview? I'm thinking no. So if the question were, should we be connecting with a recruiter before the interview? Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Should you connect with a hiring manager before the interview? Trickier. For me, it's probably a no. Here's why. Hear me out. It's probably a no because if they don't choose you now, it can feel a little awkward. I feel a little like I don't know what to do in this situation. I don't know how to detach. I don't know how to tell them, let them down real easy. It could be a little awkward. Not everybody has learned or developed the muscle to kind of have some of those hard conversations and set those kind of boundaries. And so some people just see that you sent an invite and they'll just accept it. I'm not even a fan of accepting every invitation that comes to me. That's a form of negotiation within myself. I- I'm not going to accept every invitation. I'm not going to accept every job offer. I'm not going to accept every client because they're not all for me. Some of them are meant to destroy and drain me. And the more I live life, the more I can recognize the difference. Keep going. Okay. Aaron says I probably wouldn't, but stalk the heck out of him in private. Well, careful. It depends on how you're stalking them. If you're stalking their LinkedIn profile, they can probably see that you're looking at their LinkedIn profile. I can see when people are looking at my profile. So um, look at their LinkedIn profile for sure, but I probably wouldn't be looking at their LinkedIn profile every day. Just if you're following them, now there's an opportunity where you can follow the person and they're if they post or if they comment or whatever, it's going to show up in your homepage feed on LinkedIn. And now you can kind of see what they're into, who they know, who they're interacting with. You can kind of see some of that stuff. Um, but yeah, yes, networking is like planting seeds. It won't grow instantly. But I think so many times we want instant results. We want instant rice, instant coffee, McDonald's drive through. I want it right now. Like it's actually home cooked slow cooker meal. Okay. Uh, I appreciate you. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, this is scary stuff, y'all. This is okay. Okay, I think I got through the end of the chat here. And I'm hoping that I've not like missed anyone. Oh, wait. So Aaron says, even with a premium membership, can you stock them and does it still show up? Well, premium membership does allow you, even within the non-premium membership, you can turn off. It's like a like not a privacy, like show people that I'm looking at their profile, like kind of thing. You can turn that off. The problem with that is when you turn it off, you also can't see who's looking at your profile. So it's one of those things like if you're pointing a finger at me, it's like three fingers pointing back at you. And so it backfires on you when you're just trying to be sneaky. Like just be bold with it. If you're gonna look at their profile, gonna look at it. Just I wouldn't recommend looking at it like all the time every day. Like just get in there maybe once or twice throughout the whole course of your work together. You can download their profile if you just want to see their profile. You can just download it and you don't have to like look at it all the time. But if you're trying to track their activities, just follow them and now they more likely to show up in your page feed. Okay. Yeah, so there are a few more options within the premium account. That again, I don't always speak to the premium account because that's an expense. And when you've been a job seeker and you've been a job seeker for a really long time, like saying to somebody who is already financially struggling, yeah, but pay this $30 a month to LinkedIn, it could feel like a little stab. And so I'm careful about just kind of like just hardcore recommending premium, although I do absolutely see the value of it. And so please understand it's just really it's my heart that kind of overrules sometimes because I'm like, I know what it's like to not have enough and to not want to say that. I just don't have enough. Like I've had times, definitely months where, business was not good and yet colleagues want to hang out for lunch or something. I'm like, how do I tell them I can't go without, saying I can't go because I don't have no money? Um, so just as long as you understand, okay. Does it show them we are following them? Usually, yes, I can see who's following me. Um, and that's okay. Like I don't That's the thing. I'm never offended by somebody following me. I'm never offended by somebody looking at my profile. But if I see the same person looking at my profile a lot, like that starts to give me a few creep vibes. And so just careful, just careful. Um, yes, I want to see who visited and like PDF in their profile. Yeah, good. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we are all here winning. We got just a few more minutes. Any other questions or any shout outs? Who's got a interview coming up? Who's getting ready to do their first negotiation? Who's who's on the brink of something? Who had a breakthrough? Come on, give me some good news.
I have a interview with a hiring manager on Monday.
Mhm.
And I did look him up, but I don't know how to do the PDF thing, so I'll research how to do that. But I looked at it briefly, so I just feel like I need to maybe go back and do the PDF or something.
Hold on, I'm gonna try to show you if I can quickly get in there. Hold on, let me try to show you. Okay.
And I haven't like requested the recruiter to be a friend either because wasn't sure about that.
Okay. So I'm not gonna pick any of you. I won't do that. I believe you should be able to see my screen and it's just my LinkedIn. So I'm not a premium user today. It keeps wanting me to buy it. And I have other priorities at the moment. And so maybe at the start of the year, I'll switch to premium just because there's enough motivation to switch at this point for me. And so just know that that is a personal decision and you are not less than if you do or do not have premium. Okay. And so if I wanted to download somebody's profile, so thank you to all who have sent me a connection request. For now, I'm just gonna pick some. I'm trying to see if I'd like know any of these people. I don't know any of these people, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pick her just because Corey and I went to school together. Okay. So I'm gonna go into her profile by just clicking on her face. I don't know this individual at all. And so let's just say I'm going to, of course, scan her profile. But if I wanted to download her profile, I'm going to go into more and do save to PDF. Her whole profile is now saved I can download it to my desktop. So I wanted to show you how to do that so that in future you don't have to go keep revisiting. Now, all it does is it shares with me like um, her like name and headline, her summary here. So this piece, some of the experience, anything that she's made public to share is the things that I'll be able to download in that PDF. So, but now I have it and I can refer back to it anytime I need to.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. All right. What else y'all got? Come on, we got just a few minutes. I'm trying to use them all up if you want. Okay, Trans said, let me see. Oh, I had a recruiter reach out to me this week because she liked my LinkedIn profile. That's what's up. Yes. I learned some pointers in another Career Connector session. So these sessions have been immensely helpful in my journey. Look at that. Look at that. I'm here for it. And then Ed Rena says, does it give them the notification that you downloaded their profile? I've never seen a notification that my profile has been downloaded. And so don't tell on me, y'all, but when I'm working with a client and I'm building their LinkedIn profile, I log in as them. And so I'm in a lot of people's LinkedIn profiles. I've never seen a notification that somebody downloaded your profile, like, and I've downloaded their profile. So it's not a thing that's happening. Okay. But I love the question, because it's not something that I don't think is common knowledge. So I love the question. So keep them coming. Maybe one more question. Come on. This is your safe space. Safe space. Jennifer. Oh, nope. Never mind.
I was gonna say maybe we should practice downloading it on ourselves if we can to see what shows up. But I mean, we could practice on anybody like you just showed us.
Look at that. Jennifer is in the building. Yes, bravo. Definitely go and download your own profile because you can do that. And just kind of see what's what. I like to here's oh, let me go back and share once more. Hang on. In when you're in your profile, sorry, I got all the Zoom stuff is kind of blocking half of my screen. But when you're in your, I'm going to go view my own profile. So now we're in mine. This is the just kind of admin feature from my profile. Um, where it says public profile and URL, I want you to get a little bit comfortable going in here. Again, very much outside of the scope of today's session, but I want to answer questions. Like this was just open talk. So in editing your public profiles where you can customize your URL, which I highly recommend. If yours is like, first name dash last name 248A20864, let that go and go ahead and make it something more meaningful. But then it's the visibility that I wanted to call out here. So my profile has public visibility for the public. All the things are turned on to show. Why? Because if it's so darn private, maybe don't be on LinkedIn. Maybe don't put it on the internet if it's that secret. If it's that private, maybe just don't show it at all. But why would you hide some of your own contributions? Why would you hide some of your own experiences and details and courses and awards and organizations? Or why would you hide those things? The only thing I can think to potentially hide are recommendations if they're not very strong, or if they're recommendations that point to a different time in your life when you were a different version of you and that is no longer true for your future. But all other things, like, why am I hiding it? Unless it's something, again, that I just flat out, I'm not proud of it, or it no longer reflects who I want to be, or something like that. Like, there is no reason to be out here hiding stuff. Make a profile that speaks to your future and show that thing to the world. Shout it from the rooftops. Okay, and then Aaron, I take all interviews with a grain of salt, self-presentation, do my best. Well, yeah, I mean, show up your best, but okay, so here's I'm gonna say this as my final thought. And I might have said this at a Career Connectors type of event before, but sometimes don't be mad at me. Sometimes what we think is showing up as our best isn't the best. It's the best that we know. And so we sometimes need an outside perspective. So again, working with like an Arizona at work or something like that can really get that mock interview, get you some real feedback beyond yourself. Even when I'm writing, it's difficult for me to catch my own mistakes. but somebody else can find them. And I can find other people's mistakes like nobody's business, but I can't find my own mistakes. And so I need outside perspective that just says, hey, did you see this? Or did you notice that? Or maybe we could have done that a little bit differently. And so please, sometimes if you constantly show up doing what you think is your best and it's not yielding the results that you're hoping for, I hope that this is a good opportunity for you to reach out and get outside perspective and make sure it is the best. I hope that that came across the way I intended it to. Okay. Ooh, personal tip. I listened to One Moment in Time by Whitney Houston before an interview. Yes. Um, whatever your power song, like I like to rock out. I'll listen to all kinds of stuff, y'all. I'll listen to anime theme songs. I'll listen to The Rock from, wrestling, his theme song. Um, I'll listen to I don't know, regulators from Warren G. I'll listen to whatever is pumping me up. Black Eyed Peas, pump it. I'm out here energizing myself. Even this morning, I listened to the playlist this morning because I was like, my energy wasn't super good, and the music amplified my energy. And so, for all of you who are commenting on good energy today, it was because I decided that I wanted to show up for you all. And so I listened to the right playlist, hit the shower, made up my face, did my hair in such a way that I felt good about myself so I could show up for you. And so I love you all. Thank you for being here. And y'all were here for the whole duration of time. And that is love. And so for those who have connected with me, I will look through those after lunch. And for those who haven't or don't want to, it was just a pleasure to be here with you today. I love you, Trisha. And thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope that everybody got some value out of today's conversation, and be well. Let's win. Let's get out there. Let's push. And I'm here for you. See you next time.